to become the mightiest creature on Earth. I hacked off my own limbs. I even removed both of my kidneys and all my facial features. It was all because shortly after, the great cataclysm arrived. Countless terrifying monsters descended upon Blue Star. At the same time, the will of heaven descended. Those with missing body parts would receive compensation from the heavens. Some had been crippled for 20 years, and upon awakening, their kicks could shatter the void. Some had lost an arm, and upon awakening, their star-streaming strikes could annihilate armies. Some had even hacked off their own manhood, only to awaken as absolute war machines. Their girlfriends literally sent them off to heaven. Yet in my previous life, I was perfectly intact and awakened no abilities at all. In the end, I was torn to pieces by my enemies, languishing as fodder for demons. Now, reborn one day before the doomsday, I immediately pulled out my phone and dialed the number. I want to sell a kidney. I am coming now. I need the cash by noon. The person on the other end was a pro. Come to the intersection of Nanba Road and Xiangyang Street by 9:30. Someone will pick you up. They hung up right after saying that. I immediately rushed to the meeting point. At 9:30, a van pulled up in front of me. The door opened, I got in, and they put a hood over my head. Soon after, I was whisked away to a basement. Why sell a kidney? A voice from an electronically distorted speaker asked. I felt a twisted, vengeful smile creeping across my face. I want revenge. I need the money. Then, a one-armed old man stepped out from behind me. He was the one who answered the call. Zhenshu, the standard rate is 20,000. But since you are in a rush, we do not have time for a physical, so we can only offer 15,000. If that is acceptable, sign this organ donation waiver. I said coldly. Show me the money first, or I am not signing anything. Zhenshu looked at the screen and nodded. A moment later, my phone vibrated. The bank card showed the 15,000 had arrived. It is not as if I actually cared about the money. I signed without hesitation. Then they hooded me again and took me to some unknown location. After lying down, they injected me with anesthetic. When I woke up again, I found a surgical incision on my abdomen. Pain surged, and I could not help but knit my brows. You guys better have taken out both of them. I flashed a smirk that left them uneasy. Zhenshu chuckled as he heard that. You signed the contract, you donated both. Anyway, since you are out for revenge, keep your chin up. I stood up, nodded, and asked calmly. You guys can keep the kidneys, but I need a blade. The kind that can easily chop off a man's leg. Give me that, and I will be on my way. Zhenshu gave me a thumbs up. You are one cold bastard. Get going. You will get your blade when you drop off. Half an hour later, I was out of the van. Once I took off the blindfold, I saw a machete stuck in the ground beside me. I gave it a try. It easily hacked through a tree as thick as a human thigh. Then I checked the time. The cataclysm was set to occur at 4:23 p.m. This timing was crucial, because if I hacked off my limbs, I would bleed out in 2 or 3 minutes. So I had to time the amputation perfectly. I sat in the middle of a secluded grove, waiting in silence. Soon it was 4:15. I started by hacking off my own ears. Intense pain surged through me instantly. I gritted my teeth and held on, waiting until I had sliced off my nose too. I am using the makeshift bandage I just put together, tightening it on the wound to stop the bleeding. Time is running out. I can feel my life force fading fast with every drop of blood lost. So I pulled my teeth out one by one. It was 4:20 a.m. I cut off my tongue, gouged out my eyes, and severed my left arm. My willpower had reached its limit. Only the hunger for revenge kept me going. Leaning back against a tree, I set out to sever my own legs. Then a strange light flashed across the globe. I swear I heard the roar of a demon beast. With the last of my strength, I jammed my blade into the ground, then rammed my remaining right arm into it. My right arm snapped too. In those final moments, my consciousness blurring, my wound suddenly grew scorching hot. Information from the source flooded my mind. My limbs began to rapidly regenerate. My nose, my ears, my tongue, my teeth, and my eyes grew back. A howl rang out and I snapped my eyes open. A black-furred monstrosity, over 3 meters tall and savage as a werewolf, charged at me. Instantly, a red and blue radiance erupted from my eyes, striking the werewolf head-on. Half of its body froze into solid ice, while the other half was scorched to charcoal. My reborn eyes, one, the frozen demon eye, the other, the scorching god eye. The evil werewolf crumbled before me. 2 more came rushing up. I launched myself into action, snatching up the blade with my right hand. Weapon in hand, I vaulted off my left foot. In a flash of cold steel, I decapitated the wolf on the left. My right arm now held the power of adamantine, cutting through gold and stone alike. My right hand could channel the heavens' thunder. Faster than lightning, the surge rushed through me. Mid-air, my body twisted. A gust of wind blades surged from my left leg, slicing the last wolf in two. The whirlwind left leg, combined with the gale foot, delivered blades more powerful than any cut I would ever managed before. I glanced at the 3 carcasses of these devils. A fierce craving suddenly welled up inside me. I tore open my blood-soaked shirt, revealing the abdomen where I would been cut, right where they had carved out my kidneys. 2 ink-black snakes had manifested. They lunged forward and sank their fangs into the werewolf's remains. With a sickening gulping sound, the snakes devoured the beast. At the same time, I felt my strength returning. My body felt empowered. The twinning snake kidneys, able to consume any evil essence for sustenance. My nose twitched suddenly, and I broke into a cruel smile. I could smell my own kidneys. It seems that organ harvesting den is not far at all. I will start with you lot. You promised to take one kidney but took both. How dishonorable of you. The snake slid back into my abdomen, transforming into a twin snake tattoo. The next second, I blurred into a streak of green and purple light, vanishing in a flash. In less than 10 minutes, I arrived where my organs were taken. That stench. It is Zhenshu. A joyful grin spread across my face. I am glad to see you are still alive, Zhenshu. I really do owe you a debt of gratitude. You took 2 of my kidneys, so I will have to repay you by harvesting all 5 of yours. Only then will we be square. Staring at the building ahead, I lifted my right leg. Then, a violent impact. The ground trembled instantly. The building cracked and collapsed in an instant. My right leg flared with a sickly green glow. Vines surged from my leg, burrowing deep into the debris, dragging the living souls out from within. My right leg channels the essence of wood. Plant manipulation, consuming the very life force of others. That tremor and those fissures were all my leg's handiwork. One stomp and the earth caves in. Terrified victims were dragged out one by one. Most were already near death from the falling rubble. Few of those dragged out were still breathing. Scanning them, I caught a scent I knew all too well. Confirmed. That pack of bastards who harvested my kidneys in the past. I unleashed a searing laser beam from my eyes, turning them all to ash one by one. One wretch tore through the vines and crawled from the ruins. He looked at me, horrified. You. Was that earthquake you're doing? I curled my lips into a grin. Zhenshu, thank you for taking my kidneys. I have come to return the favor. Seeing the twisted smile on my face, Zhenshu felt a jolt of pure terror. My regenerated left hand sparked with flames. I spoke coldly. You do not need to return anything. Your best bet is to crawl away and vanish. As he stared at my left hand, a sudden burst of ice locked onto him, suppressing his powers, making it impossible to manifest fire. In a heartbeat, I was standing right beside Zhenshu. With a single slash, I severed his left arm, losing that regenerated limb once more. The agonizing pain sent Zhenshu into a blind rage. He lunged at me in a desperate frenzy, but before he could even move, vines erupted to pin his limbs and hoist him up. I parted my lips, and my tongue darted out, sharp as a lethal stinger, piercing straight into his severed left arm. The tongue of soul theft. It can directly drain and awaken debility, bolstering my own power with theirs. His arm was fire aspected, so absorbing it fueled the fire in my own eyes. I then stared back at Zhenshu. A general Shu without a left arm is the only true Zhenshu. Are you ready? I am starting the repayment now. Before the words even faded, I struck with my hand, employing the power of Zheng metal to carve one of his kidneys straight out of his belly. Zhenshu was overcome with pain so intense he nearly blacked out. Seeing this, I channeled life force into him with my right leg, and shocked him with electricity to keep him conscious. Then I flashed a wicked grin. Hey, one more to go. I crushed the kidney I had just ripped out, then proceeded to extract his second one. When that second kidney was finally pulled out, Zhenshu thought his suffering was finally over. But I just grinned at him. Let us continue, shall we? After receiving the gift from the heavenly Tao, the body of a person with all their parts intact is far more resilient than an ordinary man's. Along with his fire aspect, his physical vitality is enhanced, far more vibrant than any common youngster. And since I am continuously feeding him life energy, even after I have ripped out all his organs while he is still alive, he has not kicked the bucket. He can still feel every bit of the agony. Proceeding to methodically sever his remaining limbs, I shaved off his features one by one and even smashed his teeth in. Finally, Zhenshu was tormented to his very end. I turned his mangled remains into mere ash. I could not help but show a wicked smile. So, on to the next target. My dear classmates, I am coming for you. I did not rush to the university. Those bastards from my memories won't be dying easily. So, I plan on a bloody trail of carnage along the way, devouring some lesser demons on the road to hone my powers. I have plenty of enemies, but if I had to name the one I loathe the most, it is Lu Ruyan. In my past life, I sacrificed my own leg to protect her, yet she turned around and hooked up with Wang Shanshu. Not only did she let him torture me, she ended up chopping me into pieces to feed the monsters. It was not until I died that I realized that the car accident that killed my parents was actually orchestrated by her cousin, Xu Feng. She knew it all along but never said a word. This time, I will make sure to break that woman. I will let her experience what true despair and agony feel like. But I have no idea where she is at this moment, so I plan to go find my other enemy. Li Hao and have some fun with him first. When the time is right, I will deal with Lu Ruyan. The streets were in total chaos. All sorts of monsters were out, preying on the weak. On my way, I saw quite a few people radiating special energy, fighting against the monsters. Whether they are monsters or superhumans, I can absorb them all once they are dead. Monsters replenish my vitality, and superhumans directly boost my own supernatural abilities. At the same time, I discovered something. Since my rebirth, my nose has become an olfactory sensor. Not only can I smell things from miles away, I can clearly distinguish different individuals. I can even devour souls, and those souls can directly sharpen my senses. My constitution and various abilities also get a nice boost. There were just way too many dead people and monsters. I would barely walked halfway when I felt the shackles in my body break. My abilities all reached the second tier. Most people who just gain powers are not even at the first tier, but I was already an upper first tier upon awakening, so I can easily crush those lanky monsters that are only at the lower first tier. Suddenly, a fight up ahead caught my eye. A black cat that seemed to have awakened a tail-based ability was fighting a wing-like dragon monster. Animals can also awaken, but the odds of a perfect evolution are much lower than humans, which is why any that do evolve are incredibly powerful. Take this black cat for instance. It has 9 tails, each one pulsing with dark energy like a tentacle. Its strength is clearly at the second tier. It was battling a third-tier monster. That wing-like dragon's wingspan was over 8 meters. The black scales on its body radiated terrifying dark energy. Their attributes are evenly matched, neck and neck. Seeing this, I smirked. I jumped straight into the fray. I focused my frost and incinerating beams together, resulting in a massive explosion that blasted the 9-tailed black cat onto its back. I gathered lightning in my right hand and slashed it across the black-scaled dragon's back. Its heavy body slammed hard into the ground. In an instant, these 2 second-tier bastards were crippled. After crippling them, I did not kill them right away. Instead, I opened my mouth and let 2 fangs fly out. In a flash, both monsters were sucked into the fangs. Then the fangs returned to my mouth. The fangs of the Demon King, 32 teeth in total. I can enslave 32 monsters. Any creature with dark attributes can be classed as a monster. Once enslaved, they become my puppets. This allows the monsters and myself to merge and inherit parts of their abilities. A shimmer of dark energy flickered across my body. Immediately, 9 tails and a pair of black dragon wings sprouted from my back. At this point, I was shrouded in dark energy. The mix of powers on me was even more terrifying than the monsters. After feeling the immense power provided by both monsters, I have determined that this Fangs of the Demon King ability is truly powerful. A single monster of the same tier, at least, increases my energy by 10%. Even if it is just the power of a monster, it can still unleash decent combat prowess. If I can fill all 32 teeth, my combat power will definitely multiply several times over. I need power, absolute power. One of my enemies, Wang Shenshu, is the ringleader of a crippled, pathetic gang. The bastard sold his own kidney. He had his right foot hacked off, left eye blinded, and left ear amputated. After the heavenly Dao evolved, he gained multiple abilities. He even has a bunch of awakened, superpowered thugs under his thumb. The man himself is a vicious, twisted lowlife. To take him down, I need overwhelming strength, so I must use every mean necessary to grow stronger, fast. Suddenly, 2 purple shadows streaked across the sky. I looked up and narrowed my eyes. Those are 2 guys in white, wearing Reaper-class power armor. This is standard-issue combat armor for the Tianquan Kingdom troops. It uses electromagnetic force for low-altitude flight, equipped with railguns and miniature missiles. I am quite familiar with this kind of hardware, because one of my enemies, Yu Tianbao, son of a Chishan base garrison commander, was wearing this exact armor back then, when he toyed with me like an ant. If it were not for the sudden demon tide outbreak, I would have been crushed to death by that bastard. He is also at the top of my hit list. One by one, there is no need to rush. I am going to serve them the most extravagant revenge package. Let them taste the ultimate agony. Then the black dragon wings on my back flapped, and in a flash of lightning, I rocketed towards Linzhong University. I have already run out of patience. Let us start by slaughtering a few enemies to blow off some steam. I arrived at the school track field. Inside the gymnasium, Li Shonian looked at the crowd with a stern expression and spoke. Students, teachers, and fellow survivors from outside. I know some of you have awakened superpowers, but with great power comes great responsibility. You hold the strength, and you certainly should protect those helpless civilians. Only by sticking together can we make it through this. Li Hao and Li Shonian had long ago planted people to stir things up. So soon, inside the gym, they had lured over 4,000 people to gather. All the commoners were herded pivoted into the center. There were over 70 superpowered individuals, all of whom had become Li Hao's personal thugs. Seeing this scene, Tian Yuxin immediately clung to him. How, I am so scared. You will protect me, won't you? Watching the goddess who once played hard to get, now looking at him with such desperate hope, Li Hao felt immensely satisfied and laughed out loud. Of course, I will protect you. From now on, you are my woman. As he spoke, he reached out and pulled Tian Yuxin into his arms, and took the liberty of grabbing her breasts. His left eye was blinded in an accident. It became the biggest scar of his life. Never did he expect that when the apocalypse hit. He gained his superpowers through this very blind eye. He believed he was the child of destiny. That eye going blind was just the prelude to his glory today. Suddenly, the tightly sealed gym doors were violently smashed open. The massive boom drew everyone's attention at once. In the dim shadows, a figure, with wings and a humanoid shape, stood emerged. A deep beast-like growl echoed through the hall. Get the hell out here. Even though the voice sounded slightly different, Li Hao recognized it instantly. It was Lu Zheng, the guy he beat up in the restroom this morning. Sure enough, my silhouette gradually became clear. The pair of giant black dragon wings behind me looked incredibly conspicuous. After seeing those wings, Li Hao realized the opponent might also have awakened powers. The strength required to break that door down was no joke. I might not be an easy opponent to handle, but right now, he controls dozens of superpowered lackeys. Hearing the intruder yell his son's name, Li Shonian could hear the pure hatred in that tone. Feeling that something was wrong, he stepped forward and shouted, "Young man, do you have any idea that this is the final sanctuary for humanity? You broke the gate and let the monsters in. This is a betrayal against everyone. Get the hell out of here, now. Otherwise, no one here will let you off." Seeing Li Shonian, I flashed a wicked grin. I know this old prick well. Rumor has it this lowlife used his position, holding degree completion over their heads, to ruin so many young girls. Scum like him should have died a long time ago. In a blink, I flew beside Li Shonian. My 9 tails whipped out, snatching him into midair. I snapped his right leg first, jagged white bone poking through. The agony sent Li Shonian into a shriek that nearly knocked him out cold. A female teacher standing nearby spoke up. "What do you think you are doing? Let Dean Li go, or no one will let you walk out of here." I smirked, looking even more deranged, and snapped Li Shonian's left leg as well. Amidst his piercing screams, my eyes raked across the crowd, finally locking onto one person, Li Hao. "Who won't let me walk away? Is that you, stinking Li?" Everyone looked over. Li Hao, who was planning to show off, bellowed in immediate fury. "Lu Zheng, our personal squabbles can be settled privately. This is a crisis. Think about the bigger picture. Yet you dare to lay such heavy hands on my father. Looks like you have truly turned into a monster. Everyone, he is no longer human. We must kill him together." As he spoke, he shot a bolt of lightning directly from his left eye towards me, but I caught the energy blast with my bare right hand and slammed it straight into Li Shonian's crotch. With a boom, Li Shonian's lower half was reduced to bloody pulp. I then appeared behind Li Shonian, grabbed his 2 arms and gave them a violent twist. I ripped both of them off point blank. "Ha ha. I am the monster, come and finish me then." Seeing me brush off his superpower attack so easily, and then brutally tear apart his father's arms, Li Hao was struck with sudden terror, shouting with a trembling voice, "Did everyone hear that? This guy just admitted he is the monster. Don't be afraid, he is just one man. If we attack together, we can definitely kill him." Li Hao's few loyal sycophants immediately unleashed their attacks at me. Everyone's awakened traits vary, and so do their powers, but they never escaped the realm of elemental forces. Seeing this, I used Li Shonian as a human shield against them, while I dodged at lightning speed. In a flash, I darted behind the crowd. The various attacks rained down on Li Shonian, blasting his body into shreds until he was dead. Once I moved behind them, my 9 tails emerged, entangling each superpowered fool. Using a metal fortified strike, I decapitated them instantly. I kicked out a wind blade to execute the runners as well. Not one of those who attacked me was spared. I killed them all. Then I grabbed one of them, that bastard with the ocular awakening, and used my tongue to drain the spiritual essence from his brain. "Does anyone else want to kill me?" My sheer horror paralyzed them all. Facing those words, they scrambled backward, and some even bolted right out of the gymnasium. My gaze shifted back to Li Hao. "If no one else is left, it is your turn, Li Hao." The moment I called his name, he started shaking uncontrollably. I walked toward Li Hao step by agonizing step. I wanted this bastard to taste the flavor of pure despair. Li Hao was truly scared now. When I walked within 20 meters of him, he dropped to his knees. "I was wrong, please, have mercy on me. I should not have bullied you. I should not have struck you. I was wrong. I will go to jail, just do not kill me. Li Hao begged for mercy, kowtowing repeatedly. But when he saw me standing there in silence, I just approached with a twisted, chilling grin. A deep, suffocating dread clawed at his heart. He spotted Tian Yuxin nearby. In a frantic move, he shoved her forward. Don't you like this woman? I am giving her to you. Do whatever you want with her. Just please let me go. I walked straight past Tian Yuxin and stood right in front of Li Hao. Li Hao, who was just kneeling on the ground, was suddenly bound by vines across his limbs. His neck and waist were held tight, his body splayed wide, suspended in mid-air, just like his father was. Li Hao realized I had no intention of sparing him. He immediately fired another electric bolt from his left eye. I held out my right hand to block it. My thunder hand absorbed the energy with ease. His laser eye was nothing to me now. Under his wide-eyed terror, I jammed 2 fingers into his left eye socket. I reached in and gouged out the eyeball that held his power. My tongue of chaos lashed out and swallowed the orb. Instantly, the thunder essence within it flowed into my hand, making me even stronger. He watched as the powers I just snatched were consumed after I tore them from him. The malice in Li Hao's blood boiled over as he shrieked. Lu Zheng, you pathetic piece of human trash. You will always be nothing but a loser left eating the scraps. Even if I die, I won't let you off. If you have got the guts, just kill me already. Just watch me come back as a demon to haunt you. Death would not be that easy for you. I injected a bit of life force into him, then ripped off his ears and sliced off his nose. Li Hao could still curse at first. By the time his nose was gone, he was begging again. Please just kill me, just kill me. But I simply pumped more life force into his body and yanked out a handful of his hair, leaving his scalp a bloody, shredded mess. By now, Li Hao's throat was raw from screaming. In his agony, he kept trying to bite his tongue to end it, but he could not even manage that. My tortoise game continued. I started by crushing every single one of his fingernails. Then I pierced his feet, letting the blood drip slowly. At this point, death must have felt like a mercy to him. So I made the pain as visceral as possible. I replenished his life force one last time, and reached deep into his gut to pull out his organs one by one. Every single piece. Finally, I crushed his manhood. Li Hao was finally brain dead. Seeing that, I felt bored. With a wave of my vine whip and my 9 tails, I tore Li Hao into pieces. And to finish it, I activated my soul-devouring ability to consume his spirit. Want to come back as a demon. Even in death, you will just be fuel to make me stronger. After killing Li Hao, I felt a refreshing sense of triumph. I turned my attention to Tian Yuxin. When I looked her way, she was startled by my twisted expression. Immediately, she put on a pitiful act. Lu Zheng, I know you are a good person. It was Li Hao who forced me, you know that. You will protect me, right? I looked at Tian Yuxin, the woman who had caused me to be trapped in a toilet, humiliated me and nearly cost me my life, and smirked. That smirk sent a chill down her spine. Before she could speak, her limbs were bound by vines. Lu Zheng, what are you doing? I did not hurt you. You can't do this to me. Thinking of Li Hao's pathetic demise, panic surged through her. The next second, a vine coiled around her mouth, silencing all her screams. Then 9 cattails lashed out. Hanging in mid-air, her facade crumbled away. Now, everyone could see it. On her body, there was unexpectedly a giant rose tattoo. A woman who always appeared so pure and cold finally showed her true face. Getting a tattoo there, what exactly was she looking for? Tian Yuxin struggled desperately. Seeing herself exposed like this, spread out for everyone to gawk at, the overwhelming shame and humiliation nearly made her faint on the spot. But then a tearing pain shot through her body, shaking her entire being and jolting her wide awake. Tears streamed down her face instantly, dripping onto the floor along with her blood. Then I dealt with her just like I did with Li Hao and Li Yong. After Tian Yuxin died, her soul was absorbed by me, denying her any chance to return as an evil spirit. The people still left inside the gym looked at me as if I were a demon incarnate. They stood there, trembling in fear, or had already collapsed onto the ground, paralyzed. As for Li Hao's pathetic lapdogs, I had already slaughtered them all. I ignored the crowd around me, left the gym, and headed straight to the boys' dormitory. By then, a crowd of students had already gathered outside. Chen Hao was one of the most eye-catching figures among them. I saw him suddenly grin at me. Class monitor, finally found you. Seeing the twisted smile on my face, Chen Hao's heart skipped a beat for no reason. But seeing so many eyes on him, he spoke up. What? You seem like you were in such a rush to see me. I took a step toward him, the smile on my face growing more sinister. Yeah, I was in quite a rush. Chen Hao was about to say something else, but then he saw something that terrified him to his core. 9 tails emerged from behind me. My left arm stretched out, elastic like rubber. My left hand shrouded in black light, morphing into a ghastly claw. I grabbed his head and dragged him right in front of me. My left arm of no form can take any shape, and can even manifest another version of myself. The left claw masters the power of the wicked, capable of gathering yin energy and dark forces. It forms a potent malevolent power that can even devour evil itself. I snatched Chen Hao in front of me, but I did not crush his head right away. I held him there with my tails, and started pulling his limbs with force. Lu Zheng, let me go. Otherwise, I will have my old man deal with you. That actually reminds me. Don't worry, I will be sure to give your old man a warm welcome too. I grinned and flicked my hand, sending a blade of light flying. Chen Hao's right leg was ripped clean off. Blood sprayed everywhere as his screams filled the air. The surrounding students were so terrified they scrambled backward, but one girl gritted her teeth and stood her ground. Lu Zheng, you can't do this. How are you any different from a monster now? Let the class monitor go, or he is going to die. Hearing that, I turned to look at this girl. Her name was Chen Ya. She was always the one organizing charity drives in class, taking everyone's money to help the needy and the elderly. But she was just forcing others to follow her brand of righteousness. If you did not pay up, she would lecture you incessantly, and even condemn you in front of everyone. So I am a monster now, and you want to save me. Strip off your clothes, and spin around 3 times, and I might let Chen Hao go. You have 10 seconds to decide. Every 10 seconds, I will take off another one of his limbs. I asked, playing with him. Chen Ya was furious instantly. Lu Zheng, how could you be like this? Let Chen Hao go. I ignored her, and started the countdown. Chen Hao, hearing that I might spare him, clung to his last shred of hope and screamed, Chen Ya, strip already. I swear to you, save me this time. I will make my dad pay you $1 million. Hearing this, Chen Ya cursed inwardly. It is the apocalypse now. Don't talk about $1 million. $1 billion does not mean a damn thing. It is all just worthless paper. 10 seconds passed by quickly. With a piercing shriek, Chen Hao's left arm was ripped off. Scalding blood splattered across Chen Ya's face. It made her uncontrollably gag in disgust. Chen Ya, did not you want to save someone? What? It is not like I am asking you to trade limbs with him. Is it really that hard to just take off your clothes to save a life? You are actually refusing. My voice, sounding like a devil's, echoed again. Immediately, the 10-second countdown began once more. I counted down 10 seconds again. I promptly tore off the last of Chen Hao's legs. To keep him from bleeding to death, I specifically injected him with life force to seal his wounds. Chen Hao could not even scream anymore. His face contorted in a raspy, silent agony. He did not curse me. Instead, he grew even more resentful toward Chen Ya. He hated her for watching him die, when she could have easily saved him. At this moment, Chen Ya said sternly, Lu Zheng, even if you kill him, I won't strip. I looked at the hysterical Chen Ya and grinned. Then I turned to the crowd and spoke. Any of you can save Chen Hao. The girls just need to crawl around naked 3 times. The guys just need to crawl around naked 3 times. Anyone want to save him? I looked around, everyone hanging their heads low. Chen Ya jumped up and hissed mockingly. Haha, don't blame me. None of you can even do it, can you? Suddenly, I snatched her up into mid-air. Binding her limbs with vines, I grinned. The terms are the same. As long as you can do it, you can. Save both Chen Ya and Chen Hao. Or after 10 seconds, I take one of Chen Ya's legs first. The once smug and schadenfreude-filled Chen Ya shrieked in terror. Lu Zheng, I have never wronged you. You can't treat me like this. Seeing my indifferent countdown, she hastily turned to the crowd. Please, someone save me. Save me. Yet no one paid her any mind. Just then, her eyes landed on a figure. It was as if she had finally found her last lifeline, and she screamed, Sun Qian, I know you have always liked me. Please save me. As long as you save me, I will be your girlfriend. I do not even need a dowry to marry you. Hearing this, many eyes turned toward a dark-skinned guy in the crowd. Sun Qian is her loyal lapdog. Rumor has it, every time Chen Ya hooked up with someone in the woods, Sun Qian was always the one keeping watch. I have even had to beat this idiot once myself. Hearing his goddess's plead, Sun Qian stepped out, teeth gritted. Lu Zheng, if you let Chen Ya go, I will do exactly as you say. Lu Zheng, you let Chen Ya go, and I will do as you say. Chen Ya heard Sun Qian's words, as if she had just heard divine music. Ecstatic, she urged him. Hurry, Sun Qian, hurry. At her prompt, Sun Qian immediately discarded his clothes, and began crawling naked on the ground. Seeing him look as filthy as a stray mutt, disgust and disdain flashed in Chen Ya's eyes, but she did not show it as she turned to me and said, Lu Zheng, let me go now, he has already done it. As a devil of my word. I decisively let her go and grinned. Chen Ya, now you and Sun Qian, do it in front of everyone, and I might spare you both. Hearing this, Chen Ya's complexion changed instantly, almost ready to scream insults. But thinking of my overwhelming power, she swallowed her words and forced a smile. You just made a promise, that if someone did as you said, you would let them go. I sneered. I let you go, but I never said I would not kill you. You have 10 seconds to think about it. After 10 seconds, I will take your life. Saying that, I started counting down. Chen Ya's expression twisted gradually. Although she loathed this dog Zhen Shu to the core, her desire to stay alive crushed her sense of shame. Fine, I will do it. She walked up to Jen Shu. Tossing aside her coat, she laughed like a maniac. Come on, is not this what you have always wanted? You have got your chance now, hurry up. Jen Shu struggled frantically, grabbing Chen Ya's clothes to stop her. To him, Chen Ya was a noble goddess who must not be defiled. He lunged at me in a fit of rage. You demon, I will fight you to the end. In an instant, I flicked my right hand, unleashing a flash of thunder. It blew Jen Shu's left leg clean off. Jen Shu collapsed to the ground in agony. I then said coldly to Chen Ya, you are running out of time. At these words, Chen Ya shuddered. She immediately pounced onto the shattered, immobile Jen Shu. Many students looked away at this sight. A few bolder ones even pulled out their phones to record. Jen Shu lay helplessly on the ground. Even though he felt comfortable physically, the agony on his face was clear. After seeing the expressions of the two, I felt it was enough. These two do not even deserve a first-class ceremony of revenge. The same goes for Chen Hao. So I unleashed incandescent rays directly from my right eye, turning Chen Hao, Chen Ya and Jen Shu's bodies into charred coal. I casually snuffed out those few guys that I never liked before. Black dragon scales sprouted on my back, and I flew straight out of the university. In my previous life, I was just an ordinary person, but by pure stubborn willpower, I survived for 3 whole months. In those 3 months, I endured too much humiliation and pain. I will make every one of them pay back 100-fold. I have settled everything at the university. As for that woman Lu Ruyan, I have no idea where she is yet, so I plan to go find others to settle scores. While I am at it, I can slaughter more demons outside, and hunt down some superpowered beings to consume and boost my strength. Suddenly, I remembered something, or rather, a specific type of demon. During my escape in the previous life, while passing by the zoo, I caught sight of a very powerful demon. It was quite unique, looking like a giant eyeball. If I could capture it and turn it into my slave, it would be a massive boost to my power. It just so happens that a dear friend is waiting there for me to return the favor. With that in mind, I fluttered my black dragon wings and headed off in that direction. Nearby the zoo, in a residential area, many people had gathered. The evil-eyed demon lord was standing in the streets, slaughtering at will. It is a psychic mutant that controls demons to kill, absorbing the psychic energy released upon death to upgrade itself. That is pretty much the same as my soul absorption ability. A woman was immediately pierced through by a demon. A moment later, she and her child were both demon fodder. As I arrived, I spotted that giant eyeball and flew straight towards it. The evil-eyed demon lord has reached mid-level tier 3. It is very powerful, but I felt not a hint of fear. After evolving to tier 2, I absorbed enough demon and superpowered energy. I have no reason to be afraid of a monster with so few attack capabilities like the evil-eyed demon lord. After being struck, the evil-eyed demon lord discovered my existence, this half-human half-demon freak. It immediately launched a psychic shockwave at me, but the moment that powerful psychic surge reached me, it was instantly swallowed by my ears, divine left ear and divine right ear. Not only can they detect the slightest sound waves within 100 miles, but they also absorb mental energy to forge protective mental barriers, as well as release psychic perception for external surveillance. This is why I dare to face this head-on. The true reliance of the 3rd-tier evil-eye demon lord. With these ears, unless you exceed my level by 2 tiers, your mental attacks can't touch me at all. The evil-eye demon lord grew furious. Realizing his mental attacks were useless, he immediately ordered his minions to rush toward me, and simultaneously summoned more monsters to converge and attack me here. The next second, I felt a tearing pain in my forehead. Then a gray vertical pupil appeared, and it frantically began to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. The evil creatures surrounding me suddenly stopped, then turned to swarm toward Li Hao and the others. Within a minute, they found themselves nowhere to hide. I stood before them and looked down. Lu Feiyan's eyes were filled with hatred. I once traveled with these people. It was this woman who, to save a child, exposed everyone to the monsters, eventually forcing and injured me to flee in a panic. Meeting her again, I realized that old law enforcer was well protected, so I rejoined them. And yet, it was this woman again, trying to pick up a bracelet dropped by a little girl. She brought the monsters upon us again. She acts like a saint and loves playing hero, defending these so-called beautiful virtues, but she never considers how others feel. Regardless of the big picture, many were hurt or died because of her impulsive kindness. People like her deserve to die. The crowd stared at me, hovering in mid-air, looking terrified. At that moment, I looked like a demon king, black wings on my back, exuding waves of dark energy. Are you a human? Lu Feiyan mustered the courage to take the first step and ask. No, I am a demon. I grinned and replied. Hearing me, Lu Feiyan's eyes lit up. Misunderstanding completely, she said. If you are human, that is great. You can actually control monsters. That is amazing. Just now, some people were hurt by the monsters. Please save them quickly. And this uncle has a leg injury that needs medicine. Can you escort us to the shop to get some? I ignored her requests and reached out to grab that uncle, then crushed his head on the spot. I told you, I am a demon. Finishing, I asked with a wicked grin, do you still want to save these people? Now, as long as you cut off a palm-sized piece of your own flesh, I will release one person. Otherwise, I will kill one every 10 seconds. Seeing the uncle's head crushed right before them, everyone fell into extreme panic. Lu Feiyan shouted in horror. You are clearly human. How could you do such a thing? We law enforcers protected you, and now that we need you, you actually do something so vile. I continued my countdown. When the 10 seconds were up, a woman was immediately burned to cinders. Remember this. That woman and the uncle just now were all killed by you. I watched Lu Feiyan, wearing a chilling smile. With the surge of demonic energy, my surrounding minions let out screeches that made everyone's blood run cold. Yu Chao gritted his teeth and pulled out the butterfly knife hidden at his waist and stabbed at Lu Feiyan's arm. You bitch. If you won't cut, I will cut for you. I do not want to die. Yu Chao's sudden attack caught Lu Feiyan off guard, and in her panic, she was truly carved by this bastard. A piece of flesh mixed with fabric fell to the ground, and Yu Chao laughed at me, saying, she lost a piece of flesh, you can let me go now, right? Meanwhile, Yu Chao's lover clung to him, begging, take me with you. Yu Zhao heard that, then sent her flying with a kick and roared, get lost. I am trapped here because of you. Then he looked at me in a panic. Boss, I can leave on my own. I will not take anyone else. I only gave a cold laugh and said, I said she would cut her own flesh and choose who gets to live. Now the time is up and you just stepped forward. So I will kill you. Under Yu Chao terrified gaze, a wind blade sliced through his neck. His head flew up with its eyes still wide and rolled across the ground. It landed right in front of the little lover he had just kicked to the floor. That little lover looked furious. With her high heels, she viciously crushed both of Yu Chao eyes. Let us keep going. I looked at Lu Feiyan and grinned as I spoke. My face twisted with sheer madness. The pain shooting through her arm made Lu Feiyan frown and grit her teeth without a sound, but everyone around her looked at her with hope. One of them could not help saying, it only takes a piece of your flesh to save one person. Hurry up and do it. He really will kill us. As soon as the words fell, one person picked up the sharp butterfly knife Yu Chao had dropped and handed it to her. Lu Feiyan swept her gaze around and saw that the people she had fought to protect were all staring at her, hoping she would cut herself to save them. A bitter ache rose in her heart. When I counted to the 9th second, she suddenly grabbed that knife and sliced a chunk of flesh from her thigh. I clapped and said with a smile, so who do you want to let go first? At that moment, Lu Feiyan seemed fairly calm. She pointed at Li Kuo and said, I want him to go first. Captain Li, you go out first. Only if you get out can you protect the others. Li Kuo opened his mouth but said nothing. He only walked outside in silence. He knew Lu Feiyan was simply too kind, but this brainless kindness would only get more people killed. Yet at this moment, her choice was the right one. Only if he got out first would the others have any hope to live. Otherwise, these people who only knew how to hide behind them would only become food for other fiends. Lu Feiyan cut off another piece of flesh. She clenched her teeth and did not make a sound. To be chosen as an enforcer, she truly had real skill, but the more capable a foolish saint like her is, the more trouble and death she brings. Let me go. Officer Lu, I need to get out fast and save my child, a middle-aged man said urgently. Another woman followed with her own plea. Let me go first. My old mother is still waiting for me to care for her. More people began to chime in, all arguing to be the next one out. I watched the whole scene as if it were a grand show and found it very amusing. Even while enjoying the show, I was not idle. I kept driving the demon eye and siphon nose, constantly absorbing from the surrounding fiends and humans their scattered mind force and soul essence. Death kept happening, so there was no need to worry about gains. It was only a matter of how fast they came. 1 cut, 2 cuts, 3 cuts. By now, Lu Feiyan had carved herself 22 times. Her whole body was a blur of blood and torn flesh. She had even mangled her breasts beyond recognition. The pain had already numbed her. Only the massive loss of blood had drained her strength. There were still 13 people left. They looked at Lu Feiyan anxiously. Hurry up and cut. They all got out and we need to get out too. You cannot stop, you have to save us. Lu Feiyan could no longer lift her hand. The desperate ones grabbed her arms to carve off her flesh. She did not have a single patch of good skin left. That heartless bastard snapped one of her fingers straight off. Then he grabbed Lu Feiyan by the hair and urged her, speak up and tell me how to get out of here. Lu Feiyan's heart turned completely cold. She never imagined that the people she saved by sacrificing her own flesh would eventually be the ones carving her up. She looked at me, wordless and silent. I do not recall ever meeting this person in my memories. Yet she could sense that this guy harbored a deep-seated hatred for me. He really is a demon. He shattered all remnants of kindness and beauty, forcing this hellish world to reveal its most sickening face, just leaving her there to watch, to feel that agony firsthand. The collapse of her inner beliefs left Lu Feiyan absolutely hollow. "Speak up," I said. "Speak, tell me already." The guy grabbed Lu Feiyan's hair with such force. It was as if he wanted to scalp her right then and there. The others showed their vicious colors too, including a teenager not even 18 years old. "Just die already, all of you." Lu Feiyan used her last shred of strength to slit her own throat. Watching the despair on the faces of the remaining 13, I could not help but feel a surge of dark satisfaction. "No, you can't die yet. You have not told me how to get out. You have not said a word." The guy desperately clamped his hand over her neck. Blood squeezed through his fingers, thick and visceral. This is truly some red-hot piping blood. Until finally, Lu Feiyan's body stopped, convulsing. Those 13 people looked at me. I wore a twisted, chilling grin on my face. "Too bad, you guys are out of luck now." A minute later, I walked out of the demon's perimeter. I saw Li Hao waiting outside. As others came out, I chuckled and said, "No one else is coming. Better run for your lives." With those words, I spread my wings and took off into the distance, a dark crimson shadow streaking away. The surrounding demons followed me, sprinting into the distance. Inside the perimeter, the scattered remains of corpses were exposed. In the center, the unrecognizable blood-soaked mass of Lu Feiyan stood out. Her neck was still spurting fresh blood. Apart from Li Hao, the others who saw this did not show even the slightest ounce of pity. Instead, they urged him to hurry up and lead them to safety. Li Hao stared deeply at me as I flew into the distance. His gut told him this man might become humanity's greatest enemy. On the other side, where I quickly flew to, a phantom wearing a blood-red cloak was currently toying with the humans below. As a phantom, killing is not the most direct way to gain power. They crave to harvest human fear. Phantoms grow their strength by devouring souls on one hand, and by absorbing negative emotional energy on the other. This is also a form of high-quality soul power. This is a Tier 3 phantom. I figured if I can just manage to devour it, I can take that step up to the next level of Tier 3. Elsewhere, Lu Faisong was nearly driven to despair. He never expected that the graduate student girlfriend he would painstakingly supported for 8 years would push him toward the ghosts at the critical moment, and then run off with another man. Watching dozens of people getting slaughtered and devoured, he realized he had to try an extreme measure if he wanted even a glimmer of hope for survival. He rummaged through his pockets and pulled out a bead. This was something left behind after he saw some mecha warriors slay a powerful zombie. At the time, the thing rolled right in front of him, and he just pocketed it casually. Now it became his final lifeline. As he swallowed the bead, all of a sudden, his skin turned a ghostly pale white. His skin hardened, and his fingernails started to grow. A pair of fangs had sprouted from his mouth, yet his eyes remained clear and lucid. Fan Fishin realized he was no longer human. Looking at those malevolent spirits again, he felt no trace of fear. He even felt a hint of excitement. He could not wait and lunged straight at one of the spirits. Spirits are ethereal. Physical attacks are basically useless against them. Even regular people can't touch them. But this time, Fan Fishin managed to grab a spirit. With his zombie strength unleashed, the spirit could not break free at all. He bit down like he was slurping up jelly, swallowing it whole. Zombies are the natural-born predators of the wicked. They feast on spirits. Without a soul, a zombie's body acts as a vessel for consciousness. That is why these spirits can't do a thing against such creatures. Whenever they see one, they have to steer clear. The pill Fan Fishin consumed was of high quality. The moment he turned into a vampire, he became a second-tier zombie. After frantically devouring a few spirits, his gaze locked onto that third-tier spirit wearing the blood-red cloak. However, he had not mastered flight yet, so he had to hide in the shadows, then leap out suddenly to ambush and devour it. But at the same moment, a massive force struck him, sending him flying backward. I flew over and said coldly, "It is mine. It is mine." Immediately after, I bolted toward the blood-red cloak. My left hand transformed into the evil claw, reaching out in a blur to snatch that third-tier spirit. The blood-red cloak sensed my overwhelming threat. My evil claw made it impossible for it to escape. Its entire body twisted frantically. I was already right in front of it. Twin ink snakes emerged from my abdomen to sink their fangs into the spirit. The twin ink snakes can devour negative energy. This kind of petty spirit is a piece of cake for them. Besides, its digestive power is far more formidable than the evil claw. Within 2 breaths, the blood-red cloak spirit was devoured. At the same time, the aura surrounding me abruptly shifted, breaking through to the 3rd tier. Watching the sudden appearance of the 9-tailed sky devil, Fan Fishin hesitated for a split second before choosing to flee. But after my promotion to the 3rd tier, I was faster. I flew directly in front of him, staring at this strange fellow, and asked, "You are a product of human mutation. Were you one of the broken sparks before?" Fan Fishan could not speak. He could only nod, then shake his head. He had assumed this nine-tailed sky devil was a monster, but the tone in which I spoke seemed more human than he expected, and the sheer power I radiated left him unable to resist. I felt a bit bewildered upon hearing this. Never before have I seen a broken spark, still capable of wielding such unique power. Even though this guy does not seem human anymore, at least he is still breathing. He can still kill, and he can still take revenge. To his former self, that would have been a luxury. Fan Fishan pointed to his fangs, then mimed the shape of a sphere. He put the sphere into his mouth and pointed at his fangs again. I roughly understood. You were saying you swallowed a core produced by a zombie, and that is how you ended up like this. Fan Fishan nodded. I chuckled and said, "You are quite the anomaly. Sadly for you, though, you ran into me. From now on, you serve as my thrall." With that, I immediately unleashed the four demon fangs to seal Fan Fishan within, binding him into a slave of the prison fangs. Suddenly, a voice echoed in my mind. "Master, I beg you, let me go kill someone." I was shocked at these words. "You can actually communicate with me directly. Can you read my thoughts?" Fan Fishan replied, "No, I can only transmit messages to you and sense information from the outside. Besides, I can seal your perception whenever I please. Master, I beg you to let me kill someone first. That woman pushed me to those evil spirits. She turned me into this pathetic wretch. I won't let her get away with it." I channeled the zombified power, drawn from the prisoner's fang, reflected in the window, illuminated by fire. I saw myself green-faced, fanged and three-eyed, with dragon wings, nine tails and wicked claws. I felt a twisted satisfaction. I look just like a monster now. Very well. Go kill her. I am in a decent mood, satisfied with a little treat from one of my subordinates. A fleeting wish is the only form of mercy I have left. The following is part of the novel. For more, download the QQ Reading app. Search for Global Awakenings. The first result is the right one. With the abilities Lu Jung has mastered, tracking someone who left a trail is child's play, especially when they have not gone far. It was effortless. 15 minutes later, he stepped into a shopping mall. The place was a total wreck, but there were few traces of monsters. It was clear that this was a relatively safe hideout. Lu Jung did not reveal his monstrous appearance. He looked like an ordinary guy in rags. Following the tracks, he reached a corner and found a group of people hiding there. "How did you get here? Did you attract any monsters?" A fat man with a thick gold chain saw Lu Jung and barked at him. Lu Jung ignored him, his gaze shifting to the crowd, towards a woman huddled in a tall man's arms. "I am here for her." Lu Jung's arrival naturally drew attention, and Lu Chaoshen was among those watching. When she saw Lu Jung, she froze for a moment, then asked in confusion, "Why are you looking for me? I do not even know you." Upon hearing this, Lu Jung cracked a grin, his expression twisting into something horrifying. "You definitely know him." Before the words even faded, Yang Fishan was unleashed, with his green-fanged visage and terrifying zombie-like exterior. The entire group scattered in a panicked frenzy. The gold chain man had intended to lecture Lu Jung, but at the sight of the zombie, he stumbled back in horror. Then he released a golden blade of energy. The strike landed on Yang Fishan, tearing his clothes, but it failed to pierce his defense. It merely left a white mark. Lu Jung could sense it, the energy emanating from the gold chain man's teeth. So this bastard has extractor teeth. After the heavenly Tao redistribution, he gained teeth capable of firing golden blades. No wonder you were so arrogant earlier. Just because you are an awakened one. Once released, Yang Fishan did not take his eyes off Lu Chaoshen. After being attacked by the gold chain man, he suddenly whipped around. With one swift lunge, his stiff hands impaled the gold chain man right through. The bulky body was skewered, and his hand clutched the man's heart. With a forceful tug, the fat man fell dead. Lu Jung reached out his left hand to extract his golden teeth and absorbed the supernatural energy within, consolidating his right-hand man. At the moment Qifei Shan transformed into a zombie, Lu Chaochen was nearly scared out of her wits. She scrambled to hide behind the man next to her, but that tall man instead pulled her out from behind him and shoved her toward Qifei Shan. Through her chattering teeth she cried, "Every debt has a debtor, every wrong has a perpetrator. Big brother, it was this lowlife who pushed you toward the vengeful spirit. It was not me. Just kill him and you are good. Don't bite me." As a citizen of the Tianquan kingdom, the fear of zombies runs deep in one's bones. Seeing this creature, the man felt his legs turn to jelly. Shoving Lu Chaochen out had drained his last bit of strength, and now he simply collapsed to his knees, ceaselessly begging Qifei Shan for mercy. Lu Chaochen, having been shoved aside, saw Big Gold Chain's body being pierced through by Qifei Shan. Scared half to death, she stammered with a trembling voice, "Don't kill me. Qifei Shan, you said you loved me most. You said you wanted to see me happy. I am just pursuing my own happiness now. Why do not you just make a little sacrifice? You cannot kill me." You cannot betray me like this. After casting aside the big gold chain, Qifei Shan whipped his head around toward Lu Chaochen. Without a moment's hesitation, he grabbed her body and sank his fangs directly into her neck. Killing this woman would be letting her off too easy. After realizing he had turned into a zombie, Qifei Shan immediately decided that he would turn Lu Chaochen into one too. With a single savage bite, he began drinking her blood, while simultaneously pumping the corpse virus into her body. After a brief struggle, Lu Chaochen's body went stiff, her skin turning ghastly pale as fangs sprouted. Her pupils turned white. She let out a guttural sound. She had become a zombie, just a common mindless corpse, devoid of consciousness, driven only by the scent of fresh blood, the most primal, burning hunger. The closest target was that tall man, so Lu Chaochen lunged at him, biting down onto his neck, gulping down his spilled blood. Qifei Shan, having finished with Lu Chaochen, turned back toward Lu Zheng, though he had not completely torn Lu Chaochen to shreds, leaving Lu Zheng with a sense of unfinished business. This was, after all, his own vendetta. Whatever the outcome, it was his own affair. Enough. Follow me to kill some people, Lu Zheng commanded coldly, then stored him away into the Four Devils space, and vaulted out of the shopping mall, soaring toward the Love Real Estate office building. Chen Hao had given him a heads up back then. Chen Yongguang, that CEO, Chen Hao's father, was also one of the masterminds behind his past suffering. He deserved a high-profile, ceremonial revenge. Tracing the trail of Chen Hao's blood, he could sense that Chen Yongguang was somewhere inside the Love Real Estate building. However, after flying for a distance, he noticed the target's position had shifted. He seemed to be moving at a fast pace. Of course, compared to a flyer like him, it was not exactly fast, but relative to a common pedestrian, it was definitely a full sprint. Lu Zheng could not help but pick up his speed. He did not want to waste too much time on this guy. Time to end this bastard. He still has others to take revenge on. He needs to become stronger and fast, gaining the power to defy the spirit towers and demonic abysses. 10 minutes later, he appeared in the airspace above a crowd, hidden in the shadows. He did not make a move yet. The authorities were busy evacuating the masses. Tens of thousands of people gathered together, with thousands of mech warriors all around, and several superpowered individuals standing against the demon spawn. Chen Yongguang was mixed in among them, descending right out in the open. If he were caught, he would surely be shredded by concentrated fire. Even though Lu Zheng had already stepped into the Tier 3 rank, if he were to be pelted by a hail of fire, he would be severely wounded in a heartbeat. The chance of him getting gunned down entirely was still quite high. He would naturally never adopt such a boneheaded approach. He came here strictly for revenge, not to pick fights or become a target. After a brief moment of thought, he shifted his appearance to that of a commoner, slipping into the crowd from a quiet corner, then constantly edging his way inside. He did not care at all about the others' lives. He kept pushing closer. It took Chen Yongguang over 20 minutes, but he finally reached him. At this moment, Chen Yongguang looked utterly wretched. His suit was torn to shreds, his hair matted with grime and bloodstains. Clearly, surviving until now had not been easy. Behind him followed a young woman, dressed in professional attire, her pencil skirt already ripped open. Even her fair skin was now smeared with black sludge. She had nothing else to rely on. Only Chen Yongguang. This man. You are Chen Yongguang, are not you? I am a classmate of Chen Hao, Lu Zheng asked, opening his mouth, with a twisted smile playing on his face. Chen Yongguang frowned upon hearing this. You ask if I am Chen Yongguang. Don't you have any manners, kid? Where is Chen Hao? Did he manage to escape, too? Lu Zheng smiled again. He is already dead. I killed him. Watching Lu Zheng's twisted smirk, Chen Yongguang erupted in rage. You actually killed my son. I will tear you apart. Chen Yongguang did not realize that Lu Zheng, who could kill Chen Hao, could just as easily kill him, too. He was blinded by pure fury, fueled by the death of his only son. He lunged toward Lu Zheng, but was caught by his throat in a firm grip. Chen Yongguang started thrashing desperately, flailing his limbs frantically, trying to land a strike on Lu Zheng, but he could not let out a single sound. His mouth was sealed by a surge of demonic energy, and so he was dragged along the ground by his throat. Taking him away, his little mistress stared at the scene in a daze, having absolutely no idea what to do. Just as she came to her senses, and was about to scream, a beam of frost turned her into an ice block. If she had not made a sound, Lu Zheng would not have bothered wasting the energy to kill her. But right now, in the middle of the crowd, surrounded by mech warriors and superpowered beings, if he were to be surrounded, getting out unscathed would be a major question. He certainly could not take Chen Yongguang away from the main forces. Heading to a secluded spot was the only way to let him enjoy the ultimate revenge ceremony. In the world to come, everyone for themselves. Seeing Lu Zheng dragging someone along, looking like a ruthless reaper, no one dared to lift a finger. In fact, most of them stepped aside, clearing a path for him to to leave the main group. Once they reached a nearby residential area, half an hour later, Lu Zheng finished Chen Yang off. He walked out, feeling fully satisfied, while subjecting Chen Yang to all sorts of torture. He had followed every detail of what Chen Hao went through before, telling Chen Yang his fate, and making him pay. This kind of torment naturally filled him with more rage and despair, all sorts of bitter regrets, before finally dying in agony. After killing him, Lu Zheng caught up with the main group again, because while tracking Chen Yang, he discovered that trailing the main group had huge benefits. For one, he could easily scavenge, claiming the powers of fallen transcendence, absorbing their strength through the soul-snatching snake. On the other hand, he could use the twin dark snakes to siphon the power of fallen, powerful demons, and with the siphon sin, he could even absorb the lingering spirits after death. Finally, the demon's eye, which could absorb the mental energy of those scattered in pain and despair. The energy absorbed in that short while had already propelled him into Tier 3 mid-level. His demon's eye had even advanced to Tier 3 high level. If he stayed in the rear, scavenging like a scavenger, he could harvest so much more. He had not gone far when he encountered a pleasant surprise. It was a Tier 3 high-level demon, bearing 3 wicked, tiger-like heads, its body covered in dark red scales, standing over 10 meters long. A real monster. But right now, this thing had already been worn down by the mecha warriors, crippled till its lower torso was gone. 2 of the 3 heads were half destroyed, leaving only the middle one still snarling aggressively, letting out guttural roars. For a Tier 3 high-level demon like this, Lu Zheng needed to beat it half to death. Only then could he trigger the 4 demon fangs to enslave it. Since it was already beaten to the brink of death, its energy levels were critically low, which meant Lu Zheng could directly take this demon as his slave. This made him realize the other massive benefit of following the main group. He could pick up the scraps, the powerful demons left half dead, and enslave them as his own minions, powering himself up. With every additional demon, he could stack another layer of power. If he added all 32 demons, his own strength would definitely explode. And so, Lu Zheng trailed the main group from then on, crazily reaping the fruits of their labor. An hour later, his overall energy had climbed to Tier 3 high level. Within the 4 demon fangs, the number of enslaved demons had reached 8. He was still very picky about which ones to enslave. If one was purely energy-rich, he would not bother. It had to possess a unique ability that brought him more than just energy boosts, but other supplementary effects. That was why there were only a few. The rest of those powerful ones, the ones useless to him, were all devoured. Though only at Tier 3, he is barely holding on. He is already on the verge of breaking into Tier 4. This growth rate is already incredibly fast. It is at least much faster than an ordinary superhuman's progress. Of course, his goal has never been just to surpass an ordinary superhuman, but to possess the power to crush everything in his path, kill his enemies, become the most formidable existence of all. In this life, he won't be devoured by the demons again. He is going to devour every last one of them himself, become the ultimate demon among them, devour and keep moving forward. Meanwhile, the retreating main force made it into the base. Over half of them perished during that evacuation, but at least they managed to save over 40,000 people. These people swarmed into the shelter, snatching a temporary sense of safety. But in reality, not even a drop of water had touched their lips. Food and water supplies were far from guaranteed. Even if they got inside, they would not last a few days. The massive force of mecha pilots formed a solid line of defense, added to an array of weapons and superhumans. It provided at least some baseline security. All around, hordes of demons kept charging in relentlessly. Actually, if it were only the basic demons, they would not pose a threat to such a well-equipped mecha unit. Not at all. The real problem was the various spirit class threats. They could burst out from underground, or even phase straight through the mecha armor. That is what made the battle so damn difficult. Only through the coordinated efforts of superhumans and mecha pilots could they barely hold the line. By the time Lu Zheng arrived here, he had reached the lower stage of Tier 4. His demonic eyes had reached the middle stage of Tier 4. He could influence a massive number of demons, and through the claw of the wicked, he could devour even more spirits. He stayed hidden among the demon ranks, picking off stragglers while continuing his slaughter. Given that for now, the strongest demons and spirits are merely at Tier 4 or 5, and their numbers are extremely limited, he still wanted to continue leveling up. It is impossible to do it as fast as before. He has to rely on sheer volume to reach a breakthrough through sheer numbers. Silverlock Mansion. 10 minutes later, a sound suddenly caught his ear. It grabbed his attention. It was someone wearing a black demon god Mark II, a mecha unit. They were locked in a fight with a lower Tier 5 demon. The Mark II mecha stood over 5 meters tall, forged from flexible alloys, provides rock-solid all-around protection. It even featured a surface-mounted layer, an electromagnetic pulse shield designed to negate interference. It perfectly repelled the attacks of those spirits. So this kind of mecha whether fighting spirits or demons, gave its pilot a massive advantage. This rig is lethal, but what really caught Lu Zheng's attention was the pilot inside, a soldier named Zhang Zushan. Lu Zheng remembered his voice vividly. This guy had protected his group twice before, allowing them to escape with their lives. But just like now, he was up against a Tier 5 demon, far exceeding the structural limits of the mecha. It is not just a matter of firepower. It is his reaction speed and other environmental factors, making it impossible to land a precise hit on the weak points. Instead, he's the one currently being toyed with. Both times they fought, he ended up with his mecha shattered. The final time he died right in front of Lu Zheng. That was when Lu Zheng realized that this man had actually saved his life before the apocalypse. His parents died in an accident, and despite every effort, there were no leads. Lu Zheng was utterly broken. He had completely lost hope in this world. So in a moment of weakness, he chose to jump into the river. Zhang Zushan dragged him back from the dead, and told him, no matter what, giving up on your own life is the ultimate sign of incompetence. No matter what method you use, or what you try to achieve, even if you give it your all, and still fail to get the result you want, if you die pursuing that result, it still counts for something. That was why Lu Zheng pushed on, enduring every humiliation, just to uncover the truth behind his parents' death. He never expected the apocalypse to arrive, and despite all his desperate holding on, he still helplessly died. It was only before death that he learned the truth, learned who the true culprit was, and who his real enemies were. To think he would be reborn and get another chance. He could finally pay back his debts, eye for an eye. And when he encountered this man again, Lu Zheng decided to step in and help him 3 times. Even though he is a devil, he is a man of his word. Zhang Zushan had saved him 3 times, once before the apocalypse, and twice after it began, so he would help Zhang Zushan 3 times. After that, if they were to become enemies, he would kill him without the slightest hesitation. The thing squaring off against Zhang Zushan now is a Tier 5 fiend. The aura it radiates forces the surrounding fiends to scatter. It is like an apex predator, locking onto its prey, making the rest of the pack retreat. The magic god mech is incredibly tough. Anything below Tier 5 cannot breach its armor, but beyond Tier 5, it is a whole different threshold. A single strike could cripple the mech. Zhang Zushan just decimated 3 Tier 4 fiends, showing off immense combat power. But now, he is being slammed by a 40-meter-tall horror, a tyrant dragon-like fiend. He was sent flying by a single swipe. The mech's mighty thrusters, under the attack of this fiend, showed no power to resist. He was knocked back 50 meters, crashing into the ground. On the mech's steel chassis, a deep dent appeared. This goes to show that this brutal force is enough to warp this hyper-alloy. And what is more, when Zhang Zushan charged again, he was struck by the Tier 5 Tyrant Dragon Fiend, a searing high-heat laser piercing through it. Had the defenses been slightly weaker, he would be nothing more than a pile of ash inside. Lu Zheng is not sure if his own rebirth caused a butterfly effect, putting Zhang Zushan in a terminal situation. But for sure, it is time to act. Zhang Zushan's due for a reward. That fiend, Lu Zheng has his eyes on it too. A Tier 5 subclass fiend. If he can devour it, it is enough to boost him to mid-tier 4, or even high tier 4. This is a rare resource right now. Kill one and you are down one less target. Now is the chance to borrow the strength of others, to help me devour him, even if it is not for Zhang Xuantian. I, Lu Zheng, must seize this prize. With that thought in mind, he did not hesitate a second longer. He unleashed icy fire beams directly from his eyes. At his level 4 ranking, the piercing power of a single eye was already enough to finish off a level 4 demon. But by combining the power of both eyes, blending them together, the moment they were released, their destructive power multiplied several times over. The energy impact shattered the Tyrant Dragon Demon's defenses, tearing off half of its front right claw. That attack originally was aimed straight for the demon's head, but it managed to block with its claw. The level 5 demon showed superhuman reaction speed against previous light beam style attacks. No other demon had the speed to react in time. If it could not block it, it meant it would take damage. This proved the power was enough to break its armor, which meant there was a real hope of taking it down. Lu Zheng's arsenal went far beyond just these eyes. In an instant, his physical form began to change. Previously, to keep his profile low, he only used his supernatural abilities to kill, never fully tapping into the demon's power. That is why his exterior looked like a regular human, attracting very little attention. But now, his body suddenly surged to over 4 meters tall. His clothes ripped apart instantly. A third eye sprouted on his forehead, a ghostly ashen hue, staring out like the gaze of death himself. Fangs protruded from his twisted face. His black hair turned a blood-curdling crimson, cascading down past his waist. Like a cloak of flowing blood, black spirit dragon wings sprouted from his back, along with 9 obsidian tails. Behind each shoulder grew a skull as ferocious as a starving tiger. His body was now covered in a layer of ghastly bone armor. Along his limbs, rows of jagged, razor-sharp bone blades emerged. Twin ink-black serpents coiled around his abdomen, their heads poking out to emit low, guttural hisses. Along his spine, 10 eyes blinked open, releasing a sinister, eerie light. His left hand was wreathed in demon spirits, his right crackling with dark, chaotic lightning. His feet had transformed into claws, pulsing with divergent elemental energies. At this point, no matter who looked at him, they would see a humanoid monster. The only thing that still resembled humanity was the fact that he was walking upright on 2 feet. He was a demon now, a true, pure-blooded demon. Lu Zheng roared, charging headlong at the tyrant dragon demon. In terms of mass, he was nowhere near the size of the tyrant dragon demon. He was in a completely different weight class. But in terms of raw aura, the two were evenly matched. Lu Zheng was only a level 4 low tier, after all. There was a massive gap between them, but the layering of his multiple abilities allowed him to punch well above his weight class. The tyrant dragon demon spat out a beam of high heat plasma. Lu Zheng raised his hand, unleashing a surge of lightning, snuffing out the beam instantly. His entire figure had already reached the demon's side. His demonic left claw extended. A chilling screech echoed through the air as Lu Zheng's claws dug deep into the tyrant dragon demon's body. A colossal evil spirit manifested, tearing into the demon's flesh. It devoured its energy voraciously. Chunks of gore were ripped away. The power of the specter manifested, capable of inflicting physical devastation. Simultaneously, Lu Zheng's demonic gaze unleashed a mental pulse, disrupting the tyrant dragon demon. He did not expect the strike to be fatal, but he knew it would at least stun the beast. Even 1 second was enough. The ghost tiger skulls behind his shoulders also lunged directly at the tyrant dragon demon. Bloody strands of hair turned lethal, seeping deep into the open wounds, followed by a bone blade slash empowered by the Jing stem force. Under this unrelenting barrage, in that very second, the tyrant dragon demon's body was left mangled. Gallons of energy were drained, stripping away at least a fifth of its combat power. Though Lu Zheng is only rank 4, he is dominating the rank 5 tyrant dragon demon. His offensive is relentless, leaving the beast without a shred of resistance, be it the searing laser from its jaws, or the rampant demonic aura. None of it fazed Lu Zheng. Even a mighty rank 5 demon is being humbled here, acting like mere garbage. The spectacle left everyone around, including Zhang Qianshan and his mecha pilots, utterly stunned. They just stared in disbelief. Why are 2 demons tearing each other apart? Facing this rank 5 beast, Zhang Qianshan had felt nothing but insurmountable despair. He thought he was ready to die a martyr's death to save the land, but he never expected that out of nowhere, an incomparably terrifying, powerful demon would emerge and treat the tyrant dragon like a toy, brutally crushing it into the dirt. The absolute powerhouse was being tossed around like a ball, unable to fight back at all. No matter how it struggled, it was trapped in this nightmare. Seeing the tyrant dragon demon beaten down, Zhang Qianshan showed no sign of joy. On the contrary, his heart was gripped by worry and dread. He realized that the thing beating this beast is an even more dangerous monster. Against this one, he had even less chance of survival. So, supporting Lu Zheng was out of the question. Choosing to stand by and watch for now, instead of taking a preemptive strike, was a move born of extreme caution. He was gambling, hoping that, perhaps this demon's only goal was to hunt other demons. If he were to provoke it now, it would only bring disaster upon the base. Better to stay vigilant. Though the tyrant dragon is currently suppressed and has not had a chance to react. In truth, it is a long way from being truly destroyed. After all, its sheer size alone means it possesses immense vitality. More importantly, it is still a rank 5 demon, capable of absorbing surrounding negative energy to replenish what it consumes and heal its wounds. Even while being suppressed, it remains a threat. His body suddenly began to glow, like a massive light bulb, brightening more and more. Lu Zheng sensed danger. Inside this thing, a terrifying power was about to erupt. A violent scorching heat. There was no way to escape in time. Once the restraints were let go, this energy would explode instantly, hardening his heart. Lu Zheng poured all his energy into the twin ink snakes. His entire body, transformed, centered around the ink snakes in his abdomen. Immediately, like a ravenous demon, he burrowed into the tyrant dragon demon, unleashing the full force of his devouring ability, pumping waves of black ink into the demon. The heat radiating from the tyrant dragon demon abruptly ceased increasing. Its entire body started to tremble violently. It collapsed to the ground, letting out low wheezing roars from every pore on its body. Oozed thick sludge like black ink. revealing the manifestation of evil power. Its body began to shrink rapidly, soon turning into nothing but a puddle of goo. In reality, it had been sucked dry by Lu Zheng. Out of the ink, a humanoid figure quickly coalesced. It was Lu Zheng in his transformed state. He had successfully ascended to Tier 4 Ultimate, though it was only a small step up. His combat power had surged significantly. His aura was now far stronger than it was when he first faced the tyrant dragon demon. Zhang Zishan watched Lu Zheng nervously, waiting for his next move. A slightest twitch, and he would surely attack without hesitation. But after a single glance, Lu Zheng flapped his wings and soared away. Saving him was merely to repay a debt. Lu Zheng had no intention of befriending him, or forming any alliance. Just like he said before, he is a demon who lives for revenge, who seeks to claim every resource, all to fuel his own strength. And Zhang Zishan, he is a warrior driven by a strong sense of duty. They are not on the same path, so there is no need to force a union. This makes it the third time he saved him. Anyone who blocks my path dies. Having exterminated that Tier 5 tyrant dragon demon, there were no other powerful threats left in the vicinity. And through this massacre, Lu Zheng realized his power was enough to annihilate Tier 5 demons. The most direct way to find higher tier demons was to slaughter every demon den. Underground demon dens. Each one represents unknown terror and mortal threats. Before, Lu Zheng did not have the confidence, not even daring to approach. But now, he flew directly above a demon den and plunged headlong inside. The real slaughter had begun. Once inside the den, Lu Zheng held nothing back. He first singled out over 20 demons, trapping them within the demon prison cliff. To ensure his combat strength gained another degree of amplification. Once the demons trapped by his 4 demon fangs perished, he could control new ones. So for those common demons, Lu Zheng could easily make them go on suicide missions, to bash their ways to death, gaining enough room to maneuver for myself. Killing and replenishing energy as I go allows for a prolonged onslaught. Tonight's little objective, breakthrough to Tier 4 upper level. I won't step back to the surface until it is done. As the day began to break, streetlights flickered out from amidst the ruins. Seeing it was not quite dawn yet, he breathed a sigh of relief. Just in time. He needed to harvest the essences of the dead creatures, along with the scattered mental energy. Sunshine acts as a potent purifier for this kind of power, so he had to beat the sunrise to finish the job. The evil eye had reached the peak of Tier 4 upper level. With just this final absorption, he would ascend to Tier 5. After that, the vast majority of demons and spirits he could command at will, turning them into tools for his own growing power. Once the sun finally rose, demons and spirits grew quite dormant, giving humanity a rare moment to catch its breath. But creatures still roamed the streets everywhere. Hence, people were still forced to scurry like rats. Lu Zheng walked down the street looking completely at ease. The surrounding demons and spirits kept 100-meter distance, actively scattering, avoiding him. He had butchered so many of them, and devoured so many more, that he reeked of a terrifying, demonic aura. The low-level ones mistook him for an apex predator. They dared not even approach him, and even if they did drift too close, Lu Zheng could simply use the evil eye to enthrall them. His evil eye had successfully reached Tier 5. Good thing he pushed through before sunrise. Otherwise, an upgrade would not have been this smooth. Upgrading the evil eye requires massive amounts of residual mental power. This takes a multitude of hosts, releasing intense emotions, or a vast sea of dying souls. Large-scale casualties are common in the early stages, making it the perfect time for an ascension. Since Liu Yuchao's whereabouts are confirmed to be 3 days out, Lu Zheng's plan for today was to settle the score with those who screwed him over in the past life. Time to settle the debt. He took a leisurely stroll, arriving before the entrance of the Imperial Hotel. Sun Qian should have scurried here by now, right? Lu Zheng muttered to himself. He was not entirely sure if his target had arrived yet. According to the intel from his previous life, the gang was supposed to show up around these few days. But whether it was today or tomorrow was still a toss-up. Guess I will just go inside and check. As he approached the entrance, 2 women stepped out to block his way. Halt! No men allowed inside. Lu Zheng paused in his tracks, because he realized that both of these women were superpowered individuals, and both were ocular awakeners. The number of superpowered folks is not exactly small, especially after the early chaos had passed. Supers have higher survival rates. They had a higher survival ratio, so they made up a significant portion of the survivors. But even so, to have 2 superpowered guards at the door, this force must be fairly significant. However, according to the intel from Lu Zheng's past life, this This place was supposed to be taken over by Sun Qian's gang within these next 2 or 3 days. That so-called group that forbids men from entering. Naturally, it was wiped out. Since Lu Zheng was not an esper in his past life, he never saw the Serpent Spirit Hall that Sun Qian built. Just how many espers are there, and how powerful are they? From what I see now, they are not weak. At the very least, they are more dangerous than I previously imagined. Though for me now, it makes no difference. They are just meat for the grinder. Lu Zheng had no intention of forcing his way in. If they won't let me in, so be it. I was not here looking for them in the first place. Saves me the trouble. But just as he turned around, he saw a bloated, repulsive woman, followed by a few women and a dozen or so men, walking over from nearby. The women were all holding knives, axes, and similar weapons, while the men were carrying all sorts of supplies. Clearly, this place is not strictly off limits to men. As long as you are a slave, you are in. Perhaps this is the power some women crave, is not it? Who are you? Don't move. Let me get a good look at you. When the bloated woman Hiju saw Lu Zheng, her eyes lit up. She stepped forward immediately to block his path. At this moment, Lu Zheng was wearing a simple black suit jacket. He had become accustomed to wearing it, so he did not pay much attention to his attire. He had nothing on underneath. Combined with his handsome features and a sinister, devilish aura, the two women guarding the door had already been staring, completely dazed. Not to mention this gluttonous woman. Once she saw Lu Zheng, she swallowed hard, almost lunging at him right there. Who is he, and what does he do? Seeing Lu Zheng remain silent, Hiju turned to the two women guarding the door, demanding an answer. One of them replied, "Sister, he was just passing by. He tried to enter the hotel just now, but we stopped him. He has not said a word. He seems to be a mute." Hiju, lecherous and hungry, ogled Lu Zheng, laughing, "How could I refuse such a handsome pet? He's my slave now. From now on, I will be his keeper. You can come in now." As she spoke, she reached out to touch Lu Zheng's chest, muttering, "Little treasure, let sister show you some affection." Since his rebirth, Lu Zheng's carnal desires and appetites of the flesh had faded away significantly. His mind was filled only with vengeance and killing those who wronged him. Facing Hiju's advances, he only felt deep disgust. He reached out and grabbed her wrist, squeezing hard. The bone shattered. Jagged bone fragments pierced through the skin. "Ah, you crushed my wrist. You have been asking for death for a long time, driven by pain, like a hairless sow." She charged at Lu Zheng. The day she awakened, she happened to be getting a nose job. Due to the surge of special energy, the doctor accidentally botched the surgery, erasing her nose entirely. Because of that, she awakened the impact nose, powered by condensed crystal energy, infusing his entire body. A massive sharp horn sprouted directly from his nose. With his physique and a bit of momentum, ordinary demons are sent flying instantly upon impact, and even evil spirits can have their skulls shattered by that horn, making it impossible for them to recover. In short, this thing is lethal. Seeing Lu Zheng crush Hiju's wrist, the enslaved men all showed looks of utter shock, mixed with a glimmer of hope. They certainly did not want to keep being oppressed by this fat woman. But when Hiju unleashed her rhino charge, they all retreated in terror, one after another, subconsciously crossing their legs, simply because they had seen it with their own eyes. A man who failed to please Hiju properly had his pelvis shattered by this exact move, his entire lower body reduced to a bloody pulp. That miserable sight is something no one would ever want to endure. The women following Hiju also wore expressions of pity. They hate men, but they do not hate handsome male toys. It is a shame such a good plaything is about to be destroyed like this. In everyone's eyes, even if Lu Zheng has great strength and can crush Hiju's wrist, he is still no match for the latter. The power of an awakened. They all understand it clearly, and Hiju is one of the pillars among them. Ordinary awakened cannot advance as quickly as Lu Zheng by consuming others to level up. There are two ways they evolve. One is concentrating energy, focusing on their awakened body parts, to condense and harness the power. The other is through killing, passively absorbing drifting energy. Whether it is slaying demons or other awakened, they can both gain power. Of course, both methods are too slow for Lu Zheng, which is why he never bothered with them. Hiju has been slaughtering indiscriminately, absorbing quite a bit of energy, naturally becoming one of the strongest around. But for now, he is just a low-level talent. Lu Zheng casually pushed Hiju aside, stared at him for a long moment. A beam of scorching radiation fired out, turning him into a giant pile of soot. Having such a thing get close to me makes me feel nauseous, so stay a bit further away. Now I have finished him. The women watched as Lu Zheng killed Hiju, utterly shocked one by one. One of them shrieked out loud, "So you are an I-type awakened." Another one spoke up, "You are strong, but it is a pity. Our Phoenix Society mandates that every male awakened we encounter must be killed. Just wait to die." As her words fell, A woman had already run into the hotel to report the news. Lu Jung naturally sensed her a long time ago, but he did not stop her. It is easier to deal with everyone once they come out. Since the conflict has started, let us end it quickly, while waiting for Sun Qian and his gang to show up. He needs to hurry and search for Lu Yuchao's whereabouts. This woman is not only someone he needs to hunt down and kill, she is also the key to confirming the cause of his parents' death. Even though there are no clear clues yet, he also planned to continue his search. Just in case he stumbled upon them early, he could exact his revenge all the sooner, given the sheer power he had just displayed. Right here, the remaining women did not dare to lay a finger on him, only circling him cautiously. Among the men who had been repressed, someone saw how formidable Lu Jung looked, and immediately shouted in excitement, "Brothers, kill these crazy women. Save us. If you save me, I will give you half my company shares." Another person joined in, screaming. The women turned to Lu Jung in panic, but he did not even blink. He just stood there, as if he were absolutely mute. Among the repressed men, one could not wait and tried to bolt, but a woman unleashed an ocular ability, and a beam incinerated him on the spot. The rest were instantly paralyzed with fear, not daring to stir. But when they looked at Lu Jung, their eyes were filled with pure hatred, because they were conditioned to being oppressed by these women. The violence dealt to them by the women did not really trigger much of a reaction. But as a man wielding absolute power, Lu Jung's refusal to save his fellow men felt to them like a betrayal. Little did they know, in Lu Jung's eyes, they were no different from the women. After all, Lu Jung is a demon. Do demons care about gender? To him, everyone is just another target to be extinguished. A commotion erupted at the hotel entrance. A group of people rushed out. After sensing their status, Lu Jung was slightly taken aback. More than half of them were awakened, all awakened through their eyes. People with ocular abilities meant that they were all blind. These people used to be blind women, a classic marginalized group, who now had become the elite who treated men like slaves. Perhaps this is the true meaning of this apocalypse, allowing those once relegated to the bottom to wield immense power and stand at the top. The women who had risen through this class shift looked at the crispy corpse on the ground. Their pupils dilated in horror. Among them, there were those who mastered thermal beam ocular abilities, so they knew very well what it took to reduce such a fat man instantly into a lump of charred flesh. The sheer amount of heat required. Such powerful ability is definitely not an ordinary awakened one. Are you here to challenge our Phoenix society? The speaker was called Feng Miao. She appeared to be a young woman in her early 20s. Her figure was stunning, and she was incredibly beautiful. A woman like this, if she had been blind previously, without a doubt, would have been the target of dirty-minded men, a focal point of attention. Lu Jung noticed this woman was the strongest among the group, actually reaching the level of a second-tier superior. Such talent certainly counts as a freak of nature. I am just here waiting for someone, Lu Jung said simply. He was not afraid of continuing the fight. I just figured that stays silent, people might mistake me for a mute, and when they try to communicate and pull those fancy pathetic tricks, it just gets more troublesome. Are you joking? It is the apocalypse now, and you are waiting here. Do you really think you can still reach anyone clearly? You are only here to seize what we have. That is why you showed up. All men are trash. The woman on Feng Miaoyi's left, clad in a black cheongsam, spoke with such venom. It was clear that her hostility toward men ran deep, and on Feng Miaoyi's right, the woman in jeans agreed. All men are the same. Chief, do not just believe his lies just because he is handsome. Don't forget how those men once made your life a living hell. You should be killing them one by one right now. Enslaving them would be the greatest act of mercy. This person must have been deeply scarred by men as well. Perhaps even her own father was a piece of garbage, which is why she is so cynical toward all men. Most of the women here are the same. I can basically infer that their pasts were filled with malice from men, maybe even suffering beyond imagination. But that has nothing to do with Lu Jung. No matter how much suffering they have endured, Lu Jung has no sympathy for them. If they dare to lay a hand on him, there is only one way out, death. A painful one at that. Feng Miaoyi's intuition told him that Lu Jung was definitely someone he could not afford to provoke. But his sister's words triggered memories of her own past. Because she was blind, she was sent to a massage parlor to learn the trade. She thought it would be the start of a stable life. But little did she know the nightmare that followed. Just because she was a woman, she had no strength to resist. Her body was abused, swollen and broken. Even her consciousness began to fade. And after experiencing such agony, the apocalypse arrived. She saw the world seized by overwhelming power. But that pain she could never erase. Every time she closed her eyes, it was like seeing a devil torturing her, humiliating her. All men deserve to die. His eyes brimmed with a blood-red hue. Suddenly, his body was engulfed in a crimson light. He looked just like an avenging specter. A terrifying aura spread outward, forcing even the evil spirits to back away. This is his power. The Blood Eyes should be called the Blood Fiend Demon Child, turning himself into a blood fiend, a formless entity, something between a ghost and a monster. Using blood as a medium to slaughter everything. Seeing Feng Miaoyi change, his sisters revealed excited expressions. One by one, they began to cheer. Kill them all. Chief is invincible. Chief is unstoppable. Lu Zheng was originally confused. These people clearly were not weak. So how could they have been wiped out by Sun Qian's crew? Turns out they are just a bunch of brainless fools. He is not the type to sit around and wait for someone to come and beg for a beating. Before Feng Miaoyi could even react, he reached out his left hand. His left hand morphed into a demonic claw. His left arm suddenly elongated, shooting straight toward Feng Miaoyi, snatching her right in front of him. Under the horrified gazes of the crowd, her abdomen tore open, and twinning snakes poked their heads out, sinking their fangs directly into her body. Ah! Feng Miaoyi let out a piercing shriek. Ordinary attacks barely fazed her, but his hell-forged claw held her death grip tight. These twin snakes were born to devour negative energy. They were her natural predators. 2 bites down, and he tore 2 massive holes right through her gut. Immediately, the 2 tongues began to gorge. One upward, one downward. Enveloped in a crimson glow, Feng Miaoyi was consumed bit by agonizing bit. The whole thing happened in a flash. Not even a single breath. Her sisters just stood there watching their supposed spirit guide, the one who acted so high and mighty, the one who held all the cards, being devoured alive by Lu Zheng. Lu Zheng casually tossed the remaining hair aside. His demonic claw returned to its normal state, though the 2 snake heads on his abdomen remained restless, darting their eyes side to side, as if debating who to feast on next. Thud. The woman in the qipao, who had just branded all men as trash, dropped straight to her knees. She clawed at her own clothes, exposing her skin, pleading as she tore them apart. Don't kill me. I will do whatever you want. I will do anything. I am begging you. The other one, known for saying she would kill any man on sight, now wearing jeans, also kneeled, crawling on all fours, creeping toward Lu Zheng. She whimpered, I am willing to be your dog. Please just do not eat me. The rest of the women, stunned to see how easily they had buckled to a man, found it completely surreal. After all, they used to preach that when faced with male violence, you must resist until the end, building a world for only women and male pets. Yet now, they were shamelessly offering themselves up, a total contradiction to everything they said before. Lu Zheng scanned the room. He had no interest in these brainless creatures, but if he had to do it all himself, killing them one by one would be a real drag. Cleaning up the corpses is such a hassle. These people were just too weak. He had absolutely no appetite for them. Suddenly, an idea crossed his mind. He released Kong Feishan. A moment later, Kong Feishan turned all these women into zombies and dragged them into the hotel basement. That way, it would not disrupt Sun Qian and his crew's arrival. He left Kong Feishan here, waiting for Sun Qian to show up. As for Lu Zheng, he was heading elsewhere. On his way over, he passed by a place called Morning Breeze Apartments. He suddenly remembered an old hag. He did not even know her name, but she was definitely on his hit list. Might as well stop by and check. There were just too many enemies. Too many people who had caused him such pain and despair. He could only deal with them one by one. Those remembered, and those forgotten can be recalled in time. Sometimes, when one person harbors malice toward another, it is but a fleeting moment. Perhaps this person has done good their entire life, but no matter who they were before, the moment they commit one evil act against me, to me, they are a villain, an enemy. In my previous life, Lu Zheng actually kept his kindness intact, despite being betrayed over and over. He still held on to the basic conscience of a human being, but precisely because of that, he was harmed repeatedly until he was reborn. After this time, he is no longer a human. Lu Zheng arrived at the sealed district and found it in complete chaos. Monsters and evil spirits were everywhere, even in broad daylight. Scenes of slaughter were common, because it was close to the demon den and the Tower of Evil Spirits. That is why it was like this. But no matter how harsh the conditions, there are still survivors. Those who stay alive, besides having luck, mostly possess some skills and strength. The sky was filled with dark clouds, as if it were about to rain, making the atmosphere here feel even more oppressive. A powerful demon smashed a building to pieces. Many people lost their lives instantly, while others ran out. Lu Zheng spotted them at a glance. 2 of them were the people he was looking for. It was an old woman in a purple sweater, and a 5-year-old child. The former was holding the latter, fleeing in a panic. The demon chased after those people. They frantically fled toward another building. Lu Zheng followed them. He looked like an ordinary person. It did not take long. They ran in front of a building. The hallway had a security door. It was currently open, and a few people ran inside. The old woman in the purple sweater was among the last few. She suddenly slipped, stumbled and lost her balance, and the grandson in her arms fell out. A woman, who was running, subconsciously picked up the child, and continued to dash inside. The old woman followed her closely. After a few steps, the woman also stumbled. She fell down, still clutching the child. At that moment, the old woman snatched the child away, ran into the hallway, and immediately shut and locked the door. Through the iron mesh of the security door, he saw the demon reach the woman. He thought the woman would be devoured instantly, but all the demons suddenly stopped in their tracks. Lu Zheng watched the scene with a satisfied smile. As expected, this old woman in the purple sweater is still the same. In my previous life, her fate was the same as the woman left out in the cold. I clearly saved her grandson, yet she locked me out in return. Perhaps in her eyes, as long as her grandson could survive, it was justified for anyone else to die. This is exactly how Lu Zheng, the demon, thinks now. As long as I can survive, I can continue my revenge. If everyone else is dead, then that is as it should be. Judging by that, he must be a monster too. Hee 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 hee. Lu Zheng gave a twisted grin, sending a chill down the spine of the woman beside him, who scrambled away in fear. The next instant, Lu Zheng's left hand smashed through the iron door, grabbing the grandson from the old woman's arms. Immediately after, he ripped the child out along with the shattered door. The child wailed in terror. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck from the dark clouds, partially illuminating the grim neighborhood. The flashes of lightning exposed the old woman's face, twisted in sheer panic. "Let him go, you scum. Release my grandson." The old woman lunged forward, screaming at the top of her lungs. His left eye shot out a beam of red light, aiming directly at the street lamp. Yes, he is an awakened one, someone with the absolute power to kill the monster that had just been about to harm, and save the grandson, yet he chose to watch coldly. He chose to stand by, watching that woman die. Most likely, he figured, if those monsters were full, they would not chase him anymore. Or perhaps, he believed his abilities were reserved for his grandson, not for anyone else. In short, he only cared about his grandson. Lu Zheng's right leg jolted, activating the vitality of wood. Vines suddenly erupted from the ground, tethering the old woman. Then a vine stabbed straight into her eyeball, blinding the eye that was capable of firing radiation. The old woman's agonizing shriek made the others nearby tremble in fear. Lu Zheng let out a malicious laugh, her laughter drowning out the peal of thunder. It started to rain. The rainwater washed over the ground, masking the scent of blood. Yet the stench of carnage here only grew stronger. Suddenly, 9 tails sprouted from behind him, gripping each of the old woman's grandson's limbs. With a violent tug, the little brat's arm and leg were ripped right off. "Ah, Grandma. Save me, it hurts so much." The child wailed even louder, but the old woman was already pinned down and helpless. Unable to fight back, she could only thrash around wildly, screaming, "You devil! You will rot in hell. He is just a child. How can you be so cruel? A monster like you deserves to be struck down by lightning. That old hag seems to be quite lucky." As soon as he finished speaking, a bolt of lightning struck down, landing right next to Lu Zheng. She screamed even more frantically, "See that? I have seen it now. Heaven is going to take you. You are going to die soon." However, just as Lu Zheng lifted his right hand to grasp the lightning, he realized with pleasant surprise that his thunder-infused right hand had leveled up, reaching the peak of the 5th tier. The power of heaven's lightning had just been absorbed by him. He could not help laughing even louder, looking at the old woman, and said, "Do tell. I am the devil incarnate. If the heavens want to take me, then let them come. But before that, I will take what is yours first." Before Sun Qian's words could fade, the boy's other arm and leg were ripped off as the rain poured harder. But to the old lady, his scream sounded so agonizingly clear. She shrieked at him, "You bastard! If you have got guts, come at me. What kind of man bullies a child? Come at me if you dare." Lu Zheng grinned. "Don't be impatient, you are next." The next moment, the old lady's limbs were torn off all at once. Fresh blood erupted, far heavier than the rain. Lu Zheng had an idea. He released a dark demon spider from the abyss of demons, letting it attach itself to the boy. The dark energy transformed into 4 clawed legs, crawling rapidly toward the old lady. Under her terrified gaze, it bit off one of her ears. At this moment, Lu Zheng had already released his grip on the old lady, and just like that, he watched the old hag being torn apart by the monster he turned her grandson into, bit by bit, gnawed to death. Listening to those bitter, agonizing cries, Lu Zheng's smile grew even more maniacal. In this post-apocalyptic hell, truly only a devil can survive. The old hag was a demon, and I am a devil. Only by becoming the ultimate devil can one be the last one standing. Revenge on everyone. He recalled the dark demon shadow. Lu Zheng turned and left, because he had lifted his control over those demons. Miserable screams from others echoed behind him. Their deaths meant nothing to him. He had no intention of interfering with their fate. Those demons were their final destination. The rain intensified, but it would not stop Lu Jung from continuing his hunt for revenge. He reached the entrance of a hospital, because just now, he recalled the death of his parents. He remembered that his mother could have been saved, but for some reason, the surgery was halted, ultimately leading to her death. He had previously visited the hospital to investigate, but never got any concrete answers. Now, he could use all sorts of methods to force them to talk. Entering the hospital, he found the place in total shambles. His main targets for interrogation were 3 people. First, the chief surgeon, Yu Nuoming. Second, the head of surgery, Yang Zesheng. And lastly, the hospital director, Ma Hongbao. Since the apocalypse had only broken out 2 days ago, there were not many survivors left here. Lu Jung had to search every single corner. Good thing he could control quite a few demons, letting them help him find people. The pace was much faster. Once found, he questioned them one by one about what they knew, then asked about the situation regarding those 3. Finally, he locked everyone in a room to keep watch. He had no other plans. If he could not find the right people by the end, he would just make everyone pay the price. At least it would give him a chance to vent his killing intent. When Lu Jung asked a nurse who was not wearing an undershirt, he learned that on the day the apocalypse hit, Yang Zesheng had not come to work. But this nurse, whose name was Molly, knowing exactly where Yang Zesheng was hiding, since they had a little something going on. And that is not all. He also knew where the dean was staying. They had a little something going on too, but they just happened to be intimate at the time. Yesterday, he watched with his own eyes as the dean, Ma Hongbao, was slaughtered by a demon. So now, the only targets left are Yu Nuoming and Yang Zesheng. Lu Jung scoured the entire hospital. Not a single trace of Yu Nuoming was found. The information given by others suggests that he was seen on the day of the apocalypse. So he either ran out, or he was already devoured by a demon, leaving no corpse behind. Either way, there is no way to track him down now. Lu Jung found Jasmine. Take me to find Yang Zesheng. If he is already dead, then you will die too. You had better pray he is still breathing. Lu Jung let out a cold, sinister laugh. He perfectly embodied the qualities of a villain at that moment, taking his rage and venting it out on someone completely unrelated. But it was certainly one way to vent. His rage always had to be paid for by someone. Lu Jung summoned his black-winged dragon. He grabbed Jasmine and stood upon it. Their silhouettes vanished into the darkness. In the rainy night, Jasmine's body was trembling, soaked to the bone by the downpour. She felt bone-chilling cold, but she could only grit her teeth, clinging on to stay alive. She was not willing to die just like that. They arrived shortly after, at a residential complex called Blue River Garden. As soon as Lu Jung entered, he took control of the surrounding demons. He did not want the person he had worked so hard to find to be butchered by some random demon. That would be a damn shame. He is in Building 7. Lu Jung asked coldly. Building 3, Unit 2, Room 2602. Jasmine replied quickly. Lu Jung grabbed him and flew straight to the 26th floor balcony. He smashed through the window and swooped inside. A child's scream echoed from inside the room, but it was abruptly cut off. Lu Jung could sense the life force inside. He kicked the bedroom door wide open and immediately spotted a woman hiding inside. She was desperately muffling the mouth of a child, maybe 10 years old. He noticed a wedding photo hanging on the wall. Lu Jung flashed a sinister smile. He reached out with his left hand and snatched the child away, gripping the kid by the throat. He turned to the woman. Where is Yang Zesheng? You only get one chance to answer. If you lie to me, then he dies. The woman screamed in terror. He went to the Kaiwei Hotel, too, to handle some business. Please do not hurt my child. Lu Jung sneered. He gave his hand a sharp twist. The child's eyes rolled back instantly, and then he tossed the body to the floor. You dared to lie to me. Seeing him dead, the woman lunged forward in a frenzy, desperate to reach her son, but she was caught by the throat by Lu Jung just the same. She clawed at his face with both hands, screaming in agony and rage. You devil! I am not lying to you. He just went to the Kaiwei Hotel. I am not lying to you. Why did you kill my son? Look at him now. Lu Jung giggled again. This time I believe you. As he spoke, he grabbed the boy again. He laughed, saying he is not dead yet. But if Yang Zesheng is not found, you will all die. Right after he finished speaking, he grabbed the 2 of them and flew out. Molly was naturally left behind. Consider it an escape from one calamity. A temporary escape. After all, this apocalypse has only just begun. The world does not just revolve around Lu Jung. The demon grabbed Yang Zesheng's wife and son. Following his lead, they arrived at the Kaiwei Hotel, unleashed the demon, chased everyone out, gathered them all together. From his perception just now, the number of demons here is not many. The odds of Yang Zesheng surviving are still high. Sure enough, he scanned the area. Lu Jung found that man, and he saw another familiar face. Captain Tan Mingjing of the Law Enforcement Bureau. Director Yang, Captain Tan. What a coincidence to find both of you here. Director Yang, look who I have brought for you. Seeing your wife and son again. Are not you happy? Seeing Lu Zheng, Yang Zesheng could not recall who he was at first, but after seeing his own wife and son, he lunged at him instantly. Let go of my family. Suddenly, Nine Tails emerged behind Lu Zheng. He snatched him up and hung him in mid-air. His voice was icy as he asked Yang Zesheng, let me ask you, back in that car accident last April, Ren Rulan's surgery did not save the person. If you dare lie to me, I will kill your son right now, and let those men have their way with your wife. At this moment, Lu Zheng's expression. He looked exactly like a top-tier villain, just like in the movies. At this moment, a hero should emerge to take him down. But sadly, in this reality, there is only the endless rain and thunder. Silverlock Mansion. You are you, Lu Zheng. Your mother died in a car accident. It is normal that we could not save her. Yang Zesheng recited his old script again. His son's legs were cut clean off by Lu Zheng. Blood sprayed everywhere. The screams drove Yang Zesheng and his wife to the brink of madness. You bastard! Come at me if you have got the guts. What kind of man takes it out on my family? Are you even a man? Yang Zesheng roared, but the only response he got was Lu Zheng's icy stare and crazed expression. If you do not tell me the truth, your son will die. Hearing his son's wretched screams, Yang Zesheng broke down completely. He screamed, I will tell you. Someone tipped me off. Told me not to save that person, and to let your parents die. That way, no one would point fingers. As he spoke, he pointed at Tan Mingjing, and said, I do not know who was behind it all. He was the one who tipped me off. He definitely knows. Tan Mingjing, seeing you ask him, was already sweating bullets. His face had turned the color of ash. Just as he was about to speak, his body was already coiled by the Nine Tails. With a slight tug, the immense twisting force threatened to shatter every bone in his limbs. It forced a scream of pure agony out of him. Don't kill me. It was Huang Ju who told me to find the person. The one behind it is the Shu family. The Shu family rules this place with an iron fist. I was just doing as I was told. Lu Zheng looked at him, his eyes flashing with a cold, piercing glint. Looks like you know quite a lot. As he spoke, the Nine Tails tightened. Yang Zesheng's spine was snapped in real time. Then his neck was twisted. Die now. Let the two of us have a proper talk. 5 minutes later, all 4 of his limbs had been crushed inch by Lu Zheng. Tan Mingjing gasped for air, struggling to say, I have told you everything I know. I really do not know the rest. I am just a errand boy. It was that old bastard Huang Yang who ordered me to do it. I am nothing but a pawn, just a tool. Spare me for pity's sake. Lu Zheng watched him, shaking his head. Seems like you do not really know that much after all. As for Huang Ju, I will go find him myself. You, however, should receive my hospitality. Before the words even faded, Lu Zheng plunged his hand into the man's abdomen, ripping his kidney out alive. He gutted him to the core. He carved out his features. And finally, he cut off his lineage. Only then did he let him die. Few ever get the privilege of witnessing Lu Zheng's ritual of vengeance. He should feel honored. It was already past 2 in the afternoon. The rain had stopped, but the sun remained hidden. The gloomy sky felt just like this godforsaken world. There are always places shrouded in dark clouds, leaving no hope for survival in sight. Lu Zheng arrived at the District Law Enforcement Bureau first. According to what Tan Mingjing said, Huang Yang should be on duty today. Compared to other locations, this bureau is a relatively safe zone. After all, they are well armed here, and they possess weapons that are somewhat effective against low-level demons. Protecting people in the early stages should not be a problem. If Huang Yang is here, his chances of survival are quite good. Lu Zheng walked up to the entrance, finding that, sure enough, there were no demons here. There were quite a few demon carcasses scattered around. Looking at the bullet holes on them, it was clear they had been killed by the law enforcers. He activated his sensory perception, and instantly pinpointed the location of the survivors inside. A quick estimation, at least 14 or 1,500 people were hiding in there. A good portion of them were law enforcers, the kind that carry heavy gear. This force is formidable. If they were to go out on search and rescue missions, they could likely save quite a significant number of people. However, at this moment, those inside clearly had no intention of heading out to save anyone. When Lu Zheng stepped into the courtyard, he was immediately challenged. A man armed with a handgun walked out. Pointing it at him, he barked, hands in the air. Why did you come here? Lu Zheng asked back with a strange tone. Are people in danger? Seeking protection from the law enforcer. Isn't that what you are supposed to do? The man yelled fiercely. Cut the crap. Why are you really here? There is no one around here. It is crawling with demons outside. How did you manage to get here alone? Start talking. Tell the truth. Lu Zheng answered coldly. I am here for Huang Ju. Tell him I was sent by the Shu family. You would better get Huang Yang out here to see me. Unless you want to face consequences you can't handle. He could have just killed his way through. But he thought, if he lets Mr. Huang Yang hold onto a glimmer of hope, and then crushes it when they finally meet. It would be so much more entertaining. If Huang Yang were already dead, it would be no fun at all. He would just have to move on to the next target. Huang Ju of the Shu family is inside. Follow me. At the mention of the Shu family, the man's face shifted slightly. Clearly, for the entire Law Enforcement Bureau, this family is an entity not to be trifled with. The Shu family, described by Tan Mingjing, is indeed a massive heavyweight. Never mind Tianquan Kingdom. Even within the entire Beiyuan Prefecture, they are powerful enough to cover the sky with one hand, shutting out the sun for everyone below them. The third in command of Beiyuan Prefecture is surnamed Shu. Their influence does not stop here. Within the Beiyuan Prefecture military units, they also have their own pawns. The entire Tianquan Law Enforcement Bureau, it is just a kennel for the Shu family. Everyone inside is just their dog. Lu Zheng's family was just ordinary folk. They were killed in that crash just like that. Not even a dime was paid in compensation. According to Tan Mingjing, the accident left Shu Feng severely injured himself. The Shu family did not send his own son to the grave with them, which they already considered a great act of mercy. Yeah. Lu Zheng really should thank them for not finishing the job, and giving him a chance for revenge. He had already made up his mind. Every soul in the Shu family, every single one of them, not one will be left behind. He will make sure the whole family gets what is coming to them. Before long, Lu Zheng was led to a room entrance. There were quite a few people inside, mid-discussion. Without waiting for the law enforcer to speak, Lu Zheng walked right in. He looked at Huang Yang, and sneered, "How wonderful. You are still alive." Upon hearing this, Huang Yang knit his brows instantly. His instincts told him this visitor meant trouble. He looked at the law enforcer at the door, and asked Little Chen, "Who is this?" "He says he's one from the Shu family. Here to see you." The law enforcer called Little Chen quickly replied. Upon hearing that, Huang Yang's eyes lit up immediately. He walked over eagerly and asked, "Greetings, greetings. I am moved that Chief Shu still remembers me. I am truly touched. How many men did you send, and how much firepower did you bring? I have over 400 law enforcers right here. We only need one more person's firepower. If we strike the base together, there should not be any issues. You truly are forgetful, are not you, Zhen Shu? You do not even remember me. Then let me help refresh your memory." Lu Zheng sneered. A tail whipped out from behind him, instantly binding his limbs. He hung suspended in mid-air, yanked up with raw, brutal force. "April, a year ago, there was a car accident. Shu Feng killed my parents, and you were the one who dragged it out. Have you forgotten that already?" "Forgot, no matter. Take a good long think. Once you recall, I will stop." His limbs were pulled violently. Huang Yang shrieked in agony instantly. "Ah, let me go. Quick, attack him. He is a demon." Huang Yang made no move to confess. Perhaps he really had not remembered yet. After all, he would done so much evil in a single year. How could he remember every bit of it? If he remembered everything, how could he ever sleep soundly at night? The enforcers nearby, on hearing Huang Yang's cries, raised their guns and opened fire on Lu Zheng. But the next instant, Lu Zheng's gaze swept over them. One by one, they were either charred to ash, or frozen into blocks of ice. In the blink of an eye, the dozen men were silenced. Only one remained. Xiao Chen at the door stared blankly at the scene before him, paralyzed in his tracks. He was terrified. Before he could regain his senses, to try and run, the nine tails wrapped around him and twisted his head off. None of these men even managed to fire a single shot from the start. It was just because Lu Zheng killed too fast. They could not react in time. Even though their bodies made instinctive moves, they were still a step too slow. They were just ordinary mortals. Facing a level 4 esper like Lu Zheng, they had absolutely no chance of resistance. Huang Yang struggled as he watched the others being slaughtered. His eyes filled with sheer terror. The agony in his body snapped him back to reality. He wailed in misery. "I remember. You are Ren Rulan's son. You are Lu Zheng. I remember it all. Let me go." Lu Zheng is a man of his word. Upon hearing he had remembered him, he released him immediately. He fell from the air, his limbs already nearly torn apart by Lu Zheng. The pain was even more unbearable now. He had no strength left to get back up. "Now tell me the whole story. Get it off your chest and you will suffer less. I am not satisfied. You will wish you were dead." As the words fell, vines shot out, lashing Huang Yang to the wall, hoisting him up once again. Huang Yang was left hanging there again. He struggled, horrified. "You just promised if I recognized you, you would let me go. Why are you hanging me back up again? You are a man of your word." Upon hearing this, Lu Zheng chuckled coldly. "I am a devil. Why would a devil ever need to keep his word? I have just come up with a new way to torment people. It is called threading the needle. You are lucky to be the first one to experience it. Come, let me demonstrate." Before the words even faded, Huang Yang let out a miserable scream. His whole body began to convulse violently, just like a piece of fatty meat dropped into a hot frying pan. Curled up, a vine, with a tip sharp as a needle, pierced through his palm, came out through the back of his hand, and then threaded back into his wrist. Then out again. Hearing your screams, I think this new method is a success. Now, tell me every single detail you know about what happened, without leaving anything out. Otherwise, I will treat you like a piece of old rag, and weave you together with these vines. Lu Zheng stared into his eyes, smiling wickedly. The corners of his mouth stretched almost to his ears. You demon, if you have the guts, just kill me. I will not trust you again. I would rather die than tell you anything. Oh, so you want to die, but I do not want you dead yet, Lu Zheng said, as he controlled the vines to weave once more. Huang Yang's screams rose and fell continuously. The enforcers and others outside obviously heard them, and came running over one after another. Other footsteps could be heard approaching. Huang Yang yelled with all his might, get in here. There is a demon here. Kill him. However, his cries for help were like a stone dropped into the vast ocean. There was no response. Not only were there no gunshots as expected, even the sound of footsteps had vanished. It was because Lu Zheng had just used the demon's gaze, releasing a mental shock, knocking them all unconscious instantly. He blocked the entrance to this place. Anyone approaching from behind would simply collapse. There was absolutely no chance for them to rescue Huang Yang. After hearing no further sound, Huang Yang's heart sank into total despair. The vines continued their piercing, and an immense sense of hopelessness welled up in him. When a vine finally pierced through his rear, reaching his groin area, he finally could not take it anymore. He screamed, I will tell you everything. Please stop, just give me a quick death. Although he had just been tricked once by Lu Zheng, at this moment, he had no choice but to hope Lu Zheng would keep his word. The orphan hurriedly shouted for him to stop, and began to recount what had happened. It was exactly as Lu Zheng had learned before. Xu Feng had drunkenly crashed into and killed his parents. After some payoffs, the matter was hushed up. In the records, the death of his parents was ruled an accident, as if they had carelessly killed themselves while driving. The report was full of holes, but it was quickly accepted as truth. It was only because the entire Xu family in Beiyuan province had pulled the strings. Xu Feng was the youngest son of the family. Above him, there was a second brother, Xu Jian, who served in the military, and a sister, Xu Qian, who was the chairwoman of the Tian Gong group. By now, the Xu family should have already retreated to the Red Cliff base under their control. If Lu Zheng wanted revenge, he would need to go there to find them. The Red Cliff base was in Maple Leaf City, located in the southwestern edge of Beiyuan Palace, while Tianyi City is to the northeast of Beiyuan Palace. To cross over, one must pass through two other cities. Such tight security, they certainly won't die anytime soon. After some deliberation, Lu Zheng decided to deal with Lu Yujiao and Wang Sheng first, the two enemies who directly caused his death. Only then will I go after the Xu family for revenge. I have told you everything. Just end me already, Huang Yang pleaded, sounding weak and breathless. Lu Zheng gave a chilling grin, shaking his head. For someone like you, I must perform the highest honorable execution of revenge. As he spoke, he thrust his hand into Huang Yang's abdomen, starting the gruesome service of tearing him apart from within. Huang Yang felt it all, his screams never ceasing, until his throat was raw and voiceless. After finally absorbing his soul, Lu Zheng left the law enforcement station with satisfaction. He did not immediately hunt down the others for revenge, but prioritized tracking down powerful evil spirits to devour. Increasing his power is just as crucial. He would not let up. His main enemies from memory are still untraceable, needing the right timing to find them. While preparing for vengeance, it is best to buff himself first. A little slaughter is a perfect way to let off some steam. Not far away, a dark silhouette caught his attention. It was a ghost standing over 20 meters tall, looming over the entire building. It looked like a giant, distorted doll, with blood streaming from its eyes, emitting an eerie, mocking cackle. As Lu Zheng approached, he discovered many living people inside the building. It was this giant doll that had intentionally driven them inside, unleashing this massive malice, feeding on the constant fear of the people within, until they were literally scared to death. That kind of fearful energy, those desperate souls, are exactly what these malevolent spirits crave. From the perspective of spiritual perception, the level of this ghost only reached Tier 5 mid-stage. Within Lu Zheng's power range, his overall strength has hit Tier 4 peak stage. His thunder right hand is at Tier 5 mid-stage, and Evil Eye has entered Tier 5 low stage. Against a Tier 5 peak ghost, Lu Zheng was quite confident. The bottom line is, if he can let his evil claw devour this ghost, then he could advance to Tier 5. and gain another significant boost in combat power. Having confirmed his target, Lu Zheng charged straight forward. Sensing the approach of this powerful entity, the giant doll unleashed a piercing mental blast, signaling for him to back off, so as not to disturb its feast. However, Lu Zheng completely ignored it, and charged in directly. The doll let out an even sharper, ear-piercing roar, immediately extending its claws to grab Lu Zheng. But Lu Zheng directly entangled its arms, and his left hand, the ghost claw, sunk deep into it, devouring big gulps of energy. This situation sent the giant doll into a frenzy, but it was unwilling to abandon the building. It had to summon all the surrounding evil spirits to charge at Lu Zheng together. For these low-level, insignificant spirits, Lu Zheng had absolutely no appetite, not wanting to be disturbed by them. He simply raised his right hand and made a slight flicking motion. Dozens of lightning bolts suddenly appeared in mid-air, weaving into a lethal electric net. Tear these evil spirits to pieces, and let the evil eye absorb them as nutrients. Suddenly, the Tier 5 Ultimate Evil Eye launched a mental shockwave at the big-headed doll. It immediately sent the ghost shuddering, shattering its ability to resist for the time being. Lu Zheng's spectral claws seized the moment to expand, biting down with an even wider maw. He tore off one of the big-headed doll's arms, swallowed whole. But that was not all. The dual ink black pythons on Lu Zheng's abdomen also emerged. They grew rapidly, and the further they stretched from Lu Zheng, the larger they became. By the time their heads reached the big-headed doll, they were as massive as a semi-truck. They clamped down on the doll's shoulders from both sides. Inside the building, a woman clutching a little girl watched the scene in sheer horror. She could not help but gasp, "This demon is even more powerful. We have to get out of here now." As she spoke, lightning crackled around her legs, and she leapt straight out from the 11th floor, holding the girl, fleeing into the distance. Under Lu Zheng's ruthless suppression, the big-headed doll had no power to fight back, forced to be devoured bit by bit. After absorbing its energy, Lu Zheng's left ghost claw had indeed leveled up to Tier 5, lower rung. His combat power had vaulted another layer higher. Once past Tier 5, improving every part of his body became 10 times harder. His abilities were too complex, so the amount of energy required for a single upgrade was massive. He was unrivaled among his peers, but leveling up was much harder than for the average supernatural. Luckily, he could cannibalize energy to speed things up. His level remained ahead of all other supernaturals. As for the people taking the chance to flee from the building, he could not care less. They were insignificant. All he cared about were his enemies and the things that, once devoured, could make his demon form stronger. After finishing off the big-headed doll, dusk had already fallen. Even though the heavy rain had stopped and the storm clouds had cleared, the sky had dimmed considerably. The real darkness was about to descend. Just then, Lu Zheng received word from Quang Fishan. A group had arrived at the Imperial Hotel, roughly 40 to 50 people, likely the very crew Lu Zheng has been waiting for. Lu Zheng could not help but flash an excited grin. Finished eating, and now it is time to settle some scores. Truly puts a smile on my face. Ghost dragon wings manifested behind his back. With one beat, he vaulted, vanishing directly into the cold, dark wind. At the Imperial Hotel, one of the underlings brought out a stash of food, presenting it to Sun Qian like a precious treasure. "Boss, there is quite a bit of supplies hoarded here. Looks like someone scavenged this from outside. They were probably being hunted by some demon and fled in a panic. Look, there is even a bowl of instant noodles here. Hasn't been touched yet. Still a little warm." As he spoke, he handed the noodles to Sun Qian, but the latter sent it flying with a backhand slap. Noodles splattered everywhere. "Damn it, do you have zero sense of caution? What if someone poisoned it? I would be dead before I even knew what hit me. Anything you find, do not touch as much as a morsel. Search this entire hotel top to bottom, every nook and cranny. Don't leave a single stone unturned." Before long, someone discovered the basement. They kicked the door open and released all the zombified creatures inside. A flurry of chaos and blood-curdling screams followed. Sun Qian's crew is down to just 20 people. In a fit of rage, he stomps a zombie's head into mush. "Damn it. Which bastard left after stirring up this mess, leaving me with such a disaster? It cost me so many men. Damn it, you lot are all useless. Haven't learned a single thing since we left. Getting picked off by low-level zombies. Get out there and search for more. Bring me more people. If we run short, how can we run this place? Find me 2 good-looking women. I am losing my cool. Need to let off some steam." Upon hearing this, the underlings scrambled to search the area for survivors, recruiting them into the organization. Most of them escaped from the burrows. When the apocalypse struck, they had no strength to fight back. After escaping, they followed Sun Qian, killing and fleeing all the way, finally arriving in this zone with fewer demons and evil spirits. Never thought they would unleash a horde of zombies. Almost got us all wiped out. Good thing Sun Qian is strong. Sun Qian is one ruthless character. A former mercenary, had his right leg blown off, replaced with a steel prosthetic. Later, a black market organ trafficker, doing all sorts of dirty deeds, did every kind of evil there is, lost an ear to a gunshot wound, and 3 fingers as well. After the apocalypse hit, his fingers, leg, and ear all grew back, granted with 3 special abilities, elevating him from a commoner to a formidable combatant, moving up to the next tier, intimidating all the other prisoners, and naturally, he became their boss, leading them out of there. These past few days have been nothing but killing and fleeing. The places they emerged from were far too dense with demons and spirits, never had a moment to catch their breath. Now, they can finally enjoy the lawless, unbridled pleasures of this collapsing world. Quang Fishan is hiding beneath the hotel. With his current Tier 4 peak strength, he could easily take down everyone here. After all, even the mighty Sun Qian is just a Tier 2 superhuman. But Lu Zheng's orders were to monitor, so he stays here watching. Waiting for Lu Zheng's return, Sun Qian is in the lobby, sipping a drink on the sofa. At the entrance, his goons are escorting someone. 2 people walk in excitedly. One of the bald thugs is dragging a 13-14-year-old girl. The other 2 are dragging a woman. The bald thug walks up to Sun Qian with a lewd grin, shoving the girl onto the sofa. He speaks, "Boss Qian, look what I found. It is a mother and daughter, both quite pretty. You will definitely have a good time. You scumbags. Let me go, let my mother go. You bad people will definitely be caught. You will surely be shot." The little girl struggles with all her might. But what can a little girl do against a hulking brute like him? A hand pinned him down. He could not move. Nearby, the little girl's mother was begging them. "Please, she is just a child. If you need something, take it out on me. I will do whatever you want. Just do not hurt my daughter." If she were alone, she would have chosen death, rather than being defiled by these scavenger dogs. But now, with her daughter in their hands, she could only leave her fate to these human scums and monsters, hoping to trade her life for her daughter's safety. But she clearly underestimated the depths these lowlifes could sink to. Even back when there was order and law, they were capable of vile atrocities. Now, with no rules left to constrain them, they would only become more unhinged. Sun Qian dragged the little girl to the front, and sneered at the bald man. "You have done well this time. Hold her mother down right there. I want to join in. Make sure they watch each other." Hearing this, the little girl's mother erupted like a crazed lioness. She bit hard into the guy next to her, screaming, "You animals! You will rot in hell. I will tear you all apart." The bald man slapped her across the face, sending her flying. 2 other thugs stepped forward, grabbing the woman's arms and legs, and threw her onto the sofa next to Sun Qian. The bald man started tearing at her clothes. Sun Qian began ripping at the little girl's clothes too. Quang Fishan, who had been watching from the shadows, could take it no more. Although he had become a zombie, a monster of sorts, his humanity still lingered within him. He leapt out from the darkness. Sun Qian, just getting into the mood, shuddered. His spirit dampened. What the hell was that sound? What is going on? He barked furiously. He saw one of his thugs running out in a panic. "Boss, it is bad. There is a monstrous zombie inside. Our bullets can't even scratch it." Sun Qian heard this, and quickly pulled up his pants. "Forget the mother and daughter. Get the men together now." The next moment, a green-faced, fanged figure appeared. He instinctively pulled out his gun and opened fire. The bullets hit the zombie, but they did not pierce the flesh. No blood spilled. It was as if he were shooting at solid steel. Sparks flew off the body, and the bullets ricocheted away. Such a powerful zombie. Sun Qian realized instantly, even if he used all his special abilities, he probably would not stand a chance. So, while unleashing his power to attack, he scrambled to the side to dodge. His right hand shot out 3 black rays. These were corrosive black rays, a power he gained after losing his fingers and learning the fist technique. Nothing could withstand them. Even ordinary steel would be corroded with holes, but these rays were blocked by the dark aura of Quang Fishan. He did not show a single sign of injury, just as Sun Qian had feared. His attacks were completely ineffective against him. "Keep firing. Hold him back, don't let him get close." Sun Qian felt a sense of despair. This monster, he is just too strong. The power he wields leaves no room for resistance. One can only helplessly take the beating. Without a miracle right now, I am afraid I will be nothing but fodder for the undead. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of light at the doorway and noticed a change. A figure emerged, slowly stepping into the hall, and that terrifying, powerful zombie from just a moment ago made a beeline straight for that figure, prostrating on the ground, as if begging for forgiveness. Zhenshu was indeed begging for forgiveness. Only Lu Zheng could hear his words. "Master, I could not hold back. Please punish me for this one mistake. It won't happen again. Remember this. You are a demon now. Nothing like the rest of them." Lu Zheng said coldly. He did not punish Zhen Shu, not because he approved of his actions, but because in his past life, he too had not been able to hold back. Of course, he had not had the power to stop the tragedy. He had just let out a sound by mistake, and ended up infuriating that petty son, Qian. He was stepped on, crushed, and then thrown out like trash. If it had not been for the burning desire to stay alive, to uncover the truth behind his parents' deaths, after such pain and suffering, he would have taken his own life long ago. He too had made mistakes. That is why he would not punish Zhen Shu this time. But if there were a next time, and he dared to defy his command, there is no shortage of dead zombies out there. If he did not need a servant with a bit of a brain to handle chores for him, he would have killed him right now, and replaced him with a new demonic thrall. Thank you, master. Your servant will remember this. Zhen Shu nodded immediately in agreement. However, his movements were stiff, and his nodding was as robotic as a dead man's. Sun Qian, standing to the side, was stunned. He never imagined such a powerful zombie that ignored bullets and his supernatural abilities would be so subservient to this person, just like a slave, completely obedient. Although he could not hear what Zhen Shu said, he heard Lu Zheng's words clearly. It was undoubtedly the tone used to discipline a slave. His mind racing, he could not help but lower his gun and put on a fake smile. He stepped forward slowly, smiling. Brother, is this demon yours? You can actually control zombies. Could you be from the Za clan? That is truly impressive. I am sorry, I asked Sun Qian to rest here for a bit. My apologies. This place is just where we, your brothers, are staying. It was really rude of us. I hope you can forgive us. Lu Zheng also flashed a smile, but no matter how he smiled now, it gave people a chilling, hair-raising feeling. We are the other zombies you killed, then. How are we supposed to settle this debt? Hearing Lu Zheng's question, the smile on Sun Qian's face froze. He really wanted to walk up and slap the guy across the face. From the time he was a kid, no one had ever dared to speak to him like that, and live to tell the tale. But now, looking at the zombie behind Lu Zheng, he could only force a smile and say, Brother, look, we just stumbled in here by accident. I have also lost quite a few men because of your zombie. Brother, why do not we just let it slide?